Good morning to our support staff and the representatives of the ministers. Good morning. Without any waste of time, it is now 9 o'clock, actually it's 1 minute past 9. So we have agreed that we should start early because our meeting starts at 9:30 so that we can then hear the responses of our request. Last time in our meeting on the 18th, we have agreed that we request the legal opinion with regards to that issue of the Ombudsperson. So now I would want to check. I see all of the members are in the meeting. Whoever is not in the meeting, maybe Namta will then check if ever there are those in the waiting room so that she welcome them in the meeting. So I really want to check if ever our legal advisors are in the meeting. King, you'll assist me in checking if ever we do have our legal advisors in the meeting. Dr. King? Oh, okay. I'm with the Namta in the office. Is saying they have not yet logged in. We'll give them 2 minutes. Okay. Welcome, Telana, in our meeting. I've already welcomed the honorable members of parliament and the representatives from the office of the minister. I see the DG, Memazin, is also here in the meeting. Welcome. Without any waste of time, I would want to request the legal advisor to take us through our request as to how did they see our request and what is their responses. Telana, over to you.
Good morning, Honourable Chair. Good morning, Honourable Members. My name is Telana Hadid-Starkey, and just for bandwidth, I'm going to switch off my camera. I'm sure that all members have the legal opinion with them and that they have considered it, and I'm just going to brief you on the highlights of the opinion and take you through the discussion. So, Honourable Members, we were requested to provide a legal opinion to this committee, and the legal questions that we had to consider are twofold. So the first legal question posed to us was to unpack the resolution taken by the National Assembly on the 5th of June, and then to consider the legality of re-interviewing candidates. So, Honourable Members, as a way of background, the process for shortlisting candidates for the appointment of the Small Enterprise Ombud can be found in 17F of the National Small Enterprises Act, as was duly amended by this committee in the 7th Parliament, the previous Parliament. In this regard, the Portfolio Committee convened on the 18th of March to reconsider its report on the appointment of the candidates. On the 5th of June, the National Assembly considered the report of the Portfolio Committee of Small Business Enterprises, and then, following the consideration of declarations, sorry, Honourable Member, one of the members are saying that they did not receive the legal opinion. Honourable Chair, should I pause or?
Okay, thank you very much. Can I quickly request the secretary of the committee to then flag the letter as you are busy reading it, and also email it to members? King, are you in the meeting?
Sure.
Is King in the meeting? Secretary?
Yes, Chairperson.
Please flag the letter and send the letter to our emails.
So I apologize that members have not received the legal opinion, but I'll try and then provide a detailed breakdown of the opinion.
Okay, there is the opinion on the screen. You may continue, Talana.
Sure. Okay, so as I explained, members, the questions that were posed were twofold. First, unpack the resolution that was taken on the 5th of June, and then consider the legalities of re-interviewing candidates. So if we look at the first legal question, and if we look at the question relating to unpacking the resolution, on the 5th of June, the National Assembly considered the report of this committee. And then following considerations of declarations of a vote by several political parties, the Deputy Chief Whip moved that report be referred back to the Portfolio Committee for further consideration and reporting. The National Assembly then on the 5th of June resolved that the report of the Portfolio Committee on Small Business Development on the appointment of the Small Enterprises Ombudsman be referred back to the committee for consideration. So I think this is important to pause at this point because members need to understand that it was not a requirement of the National Assembly that the Portfolio Committee reconduct interview processes. Rather, it appeared that the concern related to the voting change. So we were instructed when we were provided with the request for the legal opinion that the report was adopted by the Portfolio Committee initially with 5 parties in favor of the candidates and 4 opposed. However, in the House, this then shifted to 5 parties opposing the report. We've also further been informed that there were concerns that led to a change in vote relating to information pertaining to one of the candidates. However, the requirement by the National Assembly was not to reconduct the interviews, but rather the concern was to reconsider the report and let members find themselves and relook at the report and then submit it back to the National Assembly for consideration and further processing. If we consider the question around re-interviewing all the candidates, our legal opinion then goes on to considering the various risks that entail looking at the re-interviewing process. But before we get into the risks of re-interviewing candidates, why the legal opinion stresses on looking at the resolution of the 5th of June of the National Assembly is because National Assembly Rule 150 says that the committees are established by the rules and practices and operate as an extension of the Assembly. So the committee is only it has receives its its authority from the National Assembly and must comply with resolutions of the National Assembly. The next portion of our opinion then unpacks the risks in looking at re-interviewing and reconsidering the interview process. And these can be broken down into three sections. King, if you want to move down to paragraph 8 of the opinion. So the first point that we'd like to point out is that although there's no real constitutional argument against reopening the interviews, there are a number of legal risks that we have to highlight. And the first being...
Point of order, Chair.
Sure.
Honorable Matulela.
Thank you very much, Chair. My hand has been up. I can see that you are not recognizing me. Number 1.
Okay, Honorable Matulela, it's not that I was not recognizing you, ma. I did not see your hand.
Okay, Chair.
You may.
Okay, yeah. Thank you, Chairperson. This is Honorable Babala Matulelo, deployed by the Economic Freedom Fighters in Parliament and in this Portfolio Committee. Chairperson, number 1, I'm very concerned. I just want to know if it's just a general or just a brief. Have we started our meeting already? Because number 1, why I'm raising this concern, there's same legal advice, I think should have known that for them to avoid to come back in this portfolio committee again, or number two, to avoid the situation whereby we doubt their legal opinion. The things should be done correctly, more especially that our meeting is constituted by the legal advisors as well. I don't think, Chairperson, it is constitutional or it's how we start our portfolio committee meetings. We have not done any credentials. We have not done anything. Just opening like that, I don't think this is parliamentary to start our meeting like this. But nonetheless, my hand has been up. I thought you were going to, without me shouting, I thought you were going to see it. So I'm concerned about that, Chair. I want to know from you, have we started our meeting? If yes, what makes us to start this meeting in this unprofessional manner? Where are the credentials and apologies? Because for record purposes, it must be known who is in this meeting and then all those things. I think it is constitutionally to do so, Chair. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Thank you. You know, it slipped my mind because
I don't know if it's my line, Brakin,
we are
and
in a rush.
the chairperson the chairperson is totally cutting.
And ask King to flag the agenda. Talana, thank you. So my apology, ma. Let me go back. I'm cutting. Hello. Honorable members, can honorable members? Hello. Apology again.
Hello, Chair. Hello, Chair.
Yes,
On my side, you are cutting. I don't know if anyone is hearing you or else it's my network. I don't know.
No, we can't hear the chair. It's cutting on my side as well, Chairperson. It's Honourable Powell.
And I'm here in Parliament. Am I audible now? Hello? Am I
For
audible?
now,
Yes,
you're
Chair.
audible, yes.
Oh, thank you very much. My apology. I am here in Parliament. I'm in the office. I don't know what is happening with the network of Parliament, but at the corner where I'm standing now, because I'm audible, I'll then stick to this corner. I wanted to say, Honorable Matulelo, thank you very, very much. You know, I was in a rush because I was thinking that if we can take 30 minutes listening to the legal advisors, then by 9:30 we'll then go straight to the department. And that slipped my mind that we should just start from the beginning with this meeting because it is an official meeting. I really appreciate it. And allow me, honorable members, to welcome in the meeting and open the meeting officially. And we check if ever we do have apologies. Secretary.
Good morning, Chairperson. Good morning, honorable members. Chairperson, the apology that we have received is only from Honorable Ngobeni and also from Honorable Kruger. So those are the apologies that we received. And then the department, it's going to join at 10, the Department of Tourism, due to the nature of the agenda that if we have to get the feedback of the legal opinion. So now the department will join at 10. Thank you, Chair.
Yeah, this mistake must never happen again. I really want to profusely apologize. Thank you very much, King, for the apologies. We accept the apologies. Can we then now adopt the meeting agenda? Am I audible?
I'm
Yes.
struggling to raise my hands. I want to appreciate the spirit of the meeting, especially where things did not go right and we're able to correct and accept and apologize. Let's adopt this agenda because now it has met the requirement. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Malumacha. Any seconder? I don't see a hand. Maybe people can assist in letting me know that they want to speak. I am looking at the honorable members. Can we then support or second to the move of the agenda? I see in the meeting we have Honorable Member Powell, we have Honorable Member Sapo, Honorable Member Sarah. Can one assist us? And Honorable Molotsane, I see you are in the meeting.
I second the move, Chief. Good morning. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable Sapo, second to the move. We can now then go straight to you, Metalana, for the feedback on the legal opinion of the appointment of this person. Over to you, ma'am.
Sure, Chairperson. And by way of introduction again, my name is Salana Hadi-Starkey, and I am a legal advisor at the Constitutional Legal Services Office. And I am with Advocate Charmaine van der Merwe. She is a senior legal advisor. And I think we do also have the chief legal advisor in this committee, Advocate Frankie Jenkins. So I'm going to step back and just give a brief overview of the opinion again, because I think with all the stops, it can get confusing. Chairperson, also, I'm going to switch off my video just because I know that you're struggling with bandwidth on your floor. So as I explained, the legal opinion is twofold. It was the two questions that were posed to us was unpack the resolution taken by the National Assembly on the 5th of June, 2025. And then what is the legality in re-interviewing all the candidates? When we considered unpacking the resolution, we looked to National Assembly Rule 150, which basically provides that committees are established according to the National Assembly rules and in practice operate as extensions of the Assembly. Accordingly, the decisions and processes are subject to the instructions of the House. If we look at the resolution and verbatim, the resolution states, the report of the Portfolio Committee on Small Business Development on the appointment of the Small Enterprise Ombud be referred back to the committee for further consideration. The requirement of the National Assembly House resolution was not to reconduct interviews, but rather there was concerns raised in the National Assembly, and there was a voting change that affected the adoption of the report by the committee. It is our office's understanding that the report was adopted by the Portfolio Committee where 5 parties were in favor and 4 opposed. However, in the House, this shifted to 5 parties opposing the report. That said, if the concerns are then to look at the report, we advise, and I'll explain this further on how to do that, that the committee reconsider the report and do not re-interview candidates. And we say this based on the second question, which is what is the legality on re-interviewing all the candidates? And we unpack 3 risks, legal risks, so to speak, on re-interviewing the candidates. The first legal risk that we state is wasteful costs. I think care must be taken that the exercise does not constitute wasteful exercise. The exercise of reconducting interviews is not an exercise required by the House, as the committee is of the view that the overall process was followed correctly. There does not, on the facts presented to us before we advised, appear the need for repeating the total interview exercise. Therefore, as the National Assembly had not instructed the Portfolio Committee to reconduct the interviews, the decision to do so will rest entirely on whether the committee is of the view that the challenge presented by the content of the report cannot be resolved by any other way but to re-interview the process. However, this might amount to wasteful costs, as you have extended a number of costs on the process itself, and now you're redoing it. If the challenge is only in respect of new information, we recommend that the committee simply deals with that new information and afford affected parties an opportunity to respond to that information. The second risk that we highlight is potential bias. A further legal risk may arise when a candidate's score is adjusted downwards, and the argument may be made that an undue influence between the first round of interviews and the second round of interviews. If a score is to be adjusted due to an error of new information, the justification for that adjustment must be clearly documented to avoid the allegations of bias or discrimination. The third issue that we raise in terms of legal risks would be perceived manipulation. So this is another risk that will arise if you re-interview, a possible perception that the process was revisited in order to manipulate the process. We then quote a Labour Appeal Court judgment, which is the Department of Rural Development and Agrarian Reform. And basically the court held that the decision relating to outcome of interviews, the employer, in this case we could read in the committee, must make a fair and reasonable decision. Our conclusion then, honourable members, states that the committee must identify and isolate challenges that were made in the report and that are not acceptable to the majority of this committee. The challenges must be fleshed out, it must be identified and can be addressed in isolation without the need to revisit the entire interview process. However, that said, should this committee be of the view that you want to re-interview the process, we recommend that this be done in a transparent way and that we don't re-interview, but rather consider looking at the transcripts or the recordings of the interview process, and that if scoring takes place, it needs to be done so in a transparent fashion, and that all candidates be informed of this process so that they may have an opportunity to object to anything. We do warn the committee of the risks, and as I said, the biasness, the potential bias, the perceived manipulation, and the wasteful costs in re-interviewing. And we recommend that in the event that each candidate is afforded an opportunity to note any objection against the new process prior to the commencement of the process is important. Members, that is the legal opinion. If there are any questions of clarity, please be advised that we are available. I have also my senior directors in the meeting, should there be any other further questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Talana, for the presentation of the responses from your offices. Can I check if Eva Mishamin want to make an addition? I see the hand of Sarah. Let me check with the legal advisor first, if ever they are fine, and then I can then open it for the members to take part.
Thank you, Chairperson, and good morning to you and to the members. I have nothing to add, Chair. I think our opinion is quite clear. There are risks involved that we would caution against, and we have proposed a way forward that would mitigate those risks. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Ma. I've seen the hand of Honorable Sarah. I am now noticing the hands of the honorable members. the next hand that will follow after this one, it will be Honorable Babalwa Matulelwa. In that order, Honorable Sarah, you can start, and then I will be noticing the hands. Over to you, ma'am.
Good morning, Chair. Thank you very much. Good morning to colleagues, staff, and to the legal advisors on the platform. Chair, I would just like to clarify something, and perhaps our legal advisors can tell us whether there is firstly a difference, because the starting point of this is that the National Assembly referred the report back to the committee. And I think if you go to the recording of that meeting, the report was withdrawn. Now, I think perhaps I'd just like to get clarity whether there's a legal difference, or both can just be classed that it must come back to the committee. The second thing that I want to state is that what is not being encapsulated here is that in the report, before the first interview started, there were various concerns raised. Now, some were raised by some parties regarding whether the interviews were going to be broadcast, whether they were going to be properly recorded, and that kind of thing. We also had concerns that candidates had access to their phones, and the same questions were being asked, and how was it that they were going to be prevented from accessing the recording, watching and knowing what the questions were going to be beforehand. But most importantly, I'm the only member that's actually named in the report, and I raised concerns at the outset that one of the members that was going to be included in the panel should not be included in the interview panel. And despite me raising that at the onset and warning if there was if we came back to this and it was deemed to be that that person was not meant to be part of the panel, we could face challenges. And perhaps we should seek legal guidance at that stage. However, the chair ruled that we must go ahead, and the interviews went ahead. And subsequently, there were questions that were posed by that member who should not have been part of the panel, and irrelevant questions by that same member. And then everyone scored based on those questions being asked. And at the end of the day, when the interviews were concluded, I obviously raised this matter again, and I said, we need to get legal advice because I'm not happy that the whole process was irregular. So I don't know if that is actually encapsulating, and that was the big concern that we actually had. So Chair, I'm not going to unpack that any further. I think I'd just rather keep it concise to exactly what happened on that day and whether the legal advisors have taken that into account. And if we can't re-interview, but we didn't deem the process to be fair, because I think I'm going to place on record as well. I actually stated, and if you go back and listen to that recording, you will hear me saying that I don't want to cast aspersions on anyone, but it was really very strange that one person answered almost verbatim in terms of the model answers that we had, but yet when the person was asked an irrelevant question as to how he would assist people to fund entrepreneurs to access funding, he didn't know that it was outside his mandate. So that was a bit concerning that he could answer every question. But like I said, we can't cast aspersions, and we had to score. So there were lots of things that we had concerns about, and it was placed on record. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Singh. Honorable Babalwa Matulelwa.
Thank you very much, Chairperson, and greetings once again to our legal advisors. I want them to also make us to be 100% confident to their legal advice, because we don't want to find ourselves in a situation, Chair, whereby even the legal advice is also influenced by some of the things, because by my listening, I didn't hear them touching on, because the way they done their research on what transpired, it seems like they did go to even Parliament to get the recordings of what happened on the day. And I don't hear them saying they also checked on maybe the proceedings themselves, because it might be incorrect that we are not getting that information. One, Chairperson, I want to ask a direct question to our legal advisors. That is it correct not to follow Section 59 of the Constitution when conducting the interviews themselves? Is it constitutional to go around and lobby people to score their own preferred candidate according to the mandate? To lobby people towards a particular candidate before even the interviews starts? Number three, because why I'm asking this, the concerns and all the mess happened from the beginning. And Section 59 of the Constitution requires the National Assembly to conduct its business in an open manner. Hence, in our case, our National Assembly, even other committees, and all interviews except this one of the small business development, in this particular case that we're in, it was not even broadcasted live. And the open manner, according to my understanding, we are the public platform where we must conduct everything in a public manner, and the public must have an access to the proceedings of Parliament. Therefore, those even that have participated in the process, they are able to even go and see for their next coming other opportunities that they will get, even if they are not shortlisted, to do better, and also to make sure when they see their counterparts being the ones that are appointed by the minister, because also that one were concerned, because the minister, we were told that can take number 4 if we're taking 4 names. And I'm not hearing anything that says we even also suggested that only one name, which is number 1, after we compromised on everything that was wrong, even from the beginning, that must go alone, so that the minister will use her own discretion on the deputy, because we were told that the deputy, it is the minister alone. It's for minister to choose who they appoint as a deputy. Therefore, I'm very concerned, and I want a clear answer on this one, because even the interviews were not conducted in an open manner, because the public doesn't have, even today, doesn't have an access to see if these interviews were fair or how are they conducted, because it's only this portfolio committee, Chair, that has hidden the proceedings of Parliament for the first time in this Parliament. It is this portfolio committee for the first time in the democracy where the report of the portfolio committee is referred back to the committee, or is it withdrawn, or everything else of some sort. So they take us to confidence on those matters. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you very much, Honorable Matulelwa. The next member is Honorable Malmacha. Over to you, Honorable Malmacha.
Thank you, Chair. Thanks, colleagues. Thanks, legal advisors. Let me start by indicating that our last meeting that we set, after we have considered the report as per the instruction of the National Assembly, we identified what we thought are the key issues that made us not to be comfortable. And we never had issue of legal until in the meeting, it was suggested that if we consider to redo the 8, won't it have legal implications? For a mere fact of that angle, we said, no, let's get legal opinion. while the report itself, which I think the legal and the nation at large, it should be because it's a public document, was very clear that from the word go until where we were, we signed the report to say we're in agreement with the report. Everything that transpired here is this. With our capacity, we managed to say on the issue where we don't agree, prior and during, for an example, the issue of alternate, we agreed that we said everything is in the report. I think the legal have vanished themselves with that. The issue of correction of the marks, we agreed. Now, we came to legal, having a report that wanted a clarity on whether if we want to satisfy on the 8th, what will happen. Now, all of us who were in that meeting, I might have forgotten the date, is 2 weeks ago. All of us, we took a decision that let's take this decision and be very clear. Come again?
Sorry, Dr. Malmacha, it was on the 18th on Wednesday.
Yeah, no, there's no problem. It was on the 18th where whoever was in that meeting agreed on the report and said, let's take this and further commit that we are going to be bound by the legal, because this is the highest body that said to. The issue in the report was even clear, those who have an issue with any candidate, which it never happened, that when we start our own interview, there was a candidate that we were told that this candidate is not going to come, there's that and that, I don't know, I'm not part of that. Then the candidate came and these other things, you dealt with them in terms of the marks. So I just wanted to clear that the report that we wanted to sort legal opinion was suggested on the 18th, and the matter that we wanted to sort was on the issue of in case we touch, and yeah, the risk that has been said. Then other than that, I think it will be now, I don't even want to put any name, it will be really now out of order, because what happened is what we have agreed to come and do. Then the legal they are giving us, those who were in the meeting, this is what we were requested, this is the legal opinion that we are given. It's up to us to say we will go and reconsider as we are going to have another meeting. Today, it was just to take what they are giving us. Then the matter remains with us, colleagues. It's no longer them, but there's nothing wrong to raise what we want to raise. But the matter is we took the report and sought this legal opinion. The legal opinion is back. It's up to us to go and deal with the legal opinion. But it will be very much good that we don't lose our credibility by raising things that were never raised even before the report, because line of respect must remain that I don't even want to say Honorable X and Y, but to put things that I will say they never happened, then it will be a problem. Other than that, Chair, I think we got the report, we got the advisors, they've interpreted what they've said. It will be up to the committee to say, when do we sit? Then we get this robust discussion. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Malmacha. I see the hand of Honorable Sapo. Then Honorable Matulela will come back after Honorable Sapo. Over
Thank
to
you.
Honorable.
Okay, thank you very much, Chair. Good morning to you and all members in the meeting. You know, Chair, Honorable Malmacha just covered me on something, because that's what I initially wanted to raise first. Essentially, the danger of not attending meetings is that you will be disadvantaged in some of the things, and then come back and drag and take the meeting back. At least when honorable members haven't attended the meeting, they must get briefing from their fellow members. Because some of the things that are raised here were raised in the actual meeting, and hence the decision to look for a legal advice then was taken. I was tempted, Chair, to raise a point of order at some point, because I felt that really we are being abused, especially by members that were not there when we were taking this report into consideration. But in any way, we are here. My question, Chair, to the legal advisor is that what actually we were seeking is if there are any legal implications or legal things that says we cannot be able to do what we seek to do. what is in the letter that is written to us are the risks and the recommendations. But at least for me, that's how I understand it. But there is nothing says that you cannot do because legally this is what the Act or the Constitution says. I think for me, Chair, that is what is important. We hear the risk. Yes, we discuss them, and some of them that are part of this letter are the ones that we discussed on that day. We hear the recommendations. It's some of the recommendations that were made by honorable members. But what we were looking for, we want to re-interview the aid legally. Is there anything that we would that says you cannot be able to do that? And the second suggestion was to interview the four. We also said, also look to that. Is there anything that the four that we already identified that says you cannot be able to do so? That is exactly what we are looking for. The rest, yes, it can be there as part of the package. That is why, Chair, I am saying, yes, the letter is correct, and yes, the letter is giving a suggestion, is pointing risk and what not. But at least can we then be answered that question? Because for me, that is what is not answered in this letter. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Matulelo. Over to you.
Okay, thank you very much, Chair. With due respect, Chair, you know, some of the things they need most of that, even the process was not done correctly as per Section 59 of the Constitution, Chair. We need to humble ourselves because the same arrogance is the one that is putting us here today. And even if, let's say, not because I was at the doctor, I was not here. But that thing doesn't stop that the same EFF, even if I was not here today, even I'm not going to be there, I'm maybe permanently in the hospital because mine was the doctor's critical attendance chair. So even if I'm not here, the same thing is going to go back to Parliament and we will meet in Parliament. You can do whatever you want to agree here and you are not even humble to such an extent so that we find each other. Because the way things are happening here, Chair, that is why I raise my hand. I saw who is in the meeting, who is not in the meeting. I deliberately corrected that chairperson. Let us on record do the meeting constitutionally end. And the same secretary that put us in this, who lied to us, by the way, to say, not lying, let me put it parliamentary to say, who misled us to say the proceedings are broadcasted live, they are in an open manner. Again, today is given an opportunity, Chair, to tell the meeting who is in the meeting, who is not in the meeting. But because is in his own agenda.
We are losing you, Honorable Matulelo. Honorable Matulelo. Let me just
That's
say.
what happens with certain people.
Let's say she will come back whenever she got the network. I would want to. I saw the hand of Honorable Sarah. You know, on the 18th, we received an apology from. Hello.
Chair, we can hear you.
I thought maybe she's back. Okay. On the 18th, we received an apology from the Honorable Sarah, and we accepted the apology. Honorable Kruger was in the meeting. The issues were raised. We tried to find each other as members of the portfolio committee, and then we agreed that we need to go and check on the opinion of the legal advisors. That's where we arrived. And again, we had an apology of the Honorable Matulelo, whereby we accepted the apology. She even wrote in our chat that somebody will come from the EFF and represent her. Unfortunately, that person did not come. But I would want to agree that Honorable Sarah Singh did get a report from the two honorable members from her organization who were in the meeting. So that was the day whereby we were dealing with all these issues, and then we find each other. Now we have the legal opinion before us, whereby the risks are being stated in black and white. And now it's for us now to say, okay, because now what we requested, we found it. And these are the guidance from the legal opinion. And I am sure the way they deal with the law, they cannot try and come to the committee and mislead the committee. So we have found the legal advice. My request is that let's talk to the issue of the legal opinion, and then yes, Honorable Matulela is back. Honorable Matulela, I don't know whether you heard me when I was saying we had the two members who did tender their apologies on the 18th. The one was Sarah, and Sarah was represented by the, let me just say, members from her political party was in the meeting. And then you said you are not well. You went to the doctor, and we wished you the best so that you recover very soon. And I was happy that the following day I saw you in the house, and you even indicated that you will send somebody from the EFF to come and represent you. Unfortunately, that person did not come. And I could hear that you did not get the report of what transpired on the 18th. So I have a request to put to the honorable members who were not in the meeting that what we've agreed upon, that we go and seek for a legal advice, we got the response. Let's stick to the risk or the content of the letter and come up with a way forward. I really want to request the honorable members on that note. I would want to go back to Honorable Matulela because she was cut off. And then after her, then the honorable member Singh will then come back in that order. Thank you very much. Over to you.
Oh, thank you very much, Chair. I'm sorry that I was cut off. I don't know what happened because network is fine. But again, nonetheless, Chair, I was just requesting all of us here, because if ever the question says those who were here, those who were there, we agreed. Today we are here. We are asking according to what the legal advisor is giving us, and they told us that before they do their legal advice, they check everything, including what transpired in Parliament, and also they've checked everything. So my concern is that they didn't check how the proceedings happened from the beginning, because for the mere fact that the report did also go to Parliament and it didn't meet requirements and it had to come back, it means a lot. And us, we didn't argue only in Parliament. We didn't argue the things that you are talking about, because also, Chair, even though I was not there, the following day, I was able to source the meeting. I listened from the beginning up to the end. I know what happened in the portfolio committee, because I cannot come here the way we operate in the EFF. You don't just come here and argue things that you are not even researching about them. What transpired was by me being here, I'm talking about everything, and I know what transpired in that meeting. And in that meeting also, in the report and all the things that were they were deliberated to, there are things that they were not also covered. Because we were not there, we couldn't even bring along those things. Again, I want to caution even the legal advice to say, even the report, why we reject reports. Even the report itself, the one that they are referring to, the one that they are working onto, it is not the true reflection of what happened. Even there are things that are not included. And here, people, they work according to the majority, as IPOSA was it withdraw their support. That's how this thing did not go forward, because IPOSA now it cannot be counted. It supported the similar report. So the report that they are working on is not a 100% report because it's not covered. Even when in the deliberations in my absence, I did see that it was not covered, that the EFF requested that because of all these issues and all these unconstitutional follow-ups that were not done, let us just give the minister one name. It was not covered in that meeting. It is not covered in this report. It was not covered. It is not covered in the same report that I inquired that it cannot be correct that the interviews are not broadcasted live to the public because Section 59 of the Constitution stipulates that it must be in an open manner. And the open manner is not amongst ourselves. That one is obvious. So thank you, Chair, but I caution members that they must be humble in this thing so that it goes up. But their arrogance is not going to assist. This thing is going to go back to Parliament and we'll meet in Parliament. You can maybe pass here, but in Parliament we're going to meet. So it's better we resolve here. We agree here. It's not like we are unfair, but there's a lot that happened. Even you yourselves, you know what happened. So therefore, I'm also requesting the legal advice as well to give us a go-ahead in terms of redoing the interviews to the 4 and the 8. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Matulela. I really appreciate your advice when you say we need to talk and find each other in the committee. And that is what we are looking for. I'm sure it's in the interest of all of us that we should find each other. And then when we go back to the House, then we go as one member of the family of small business development. Honorable Sarah, over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, there's just two quick things. The one thing I think is perhaps our content advisor should perhaps place on record here, because I heard it being said that prior to last week's meeting, there was no talk of anything legal. And on the day of the interviews, when I raised this at the end of the meeting and we went through, I insisted on a legal opinion, and the next morning, the content advisors came back and then they didn't, and the researcher, and then they then told us that the member should have not been part of the panel. And at that stage, her scores were then removed from the process. So to say that there was never any talk of anything legal and getting advice earlier is not incorrect. However, I do want to actually just place something else on record, and that is I also watched the entire proceedings of last week's meeting, and I had a full briefing from my members, and I can confirm there was agreement from the side of the DA that at a minimum, the DA would accept interviewing all 8 candidates at the minimum, but to make sure that we did not fall foul of any provisions, it was agreed, and the DA did agree, that a legal opinion be sought on the way forward, so that if this committee now or takes the step of re-interviewing, for example, that we don't fall foul of any processes, due process. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Honorable Malmach, I've seen your hand, but I want to request King to put on the risk on our screens. Flight in the risks before I allow the Honorable Malmach to come in. I could hear that now we are going somewhere. I have heard the Honorable Matulela, I have heard Honorable Sarah. King, are you listening? Thank you very much. I was saying we have heard, and now I want us to take us to the risks so that we have a way forward. Okay. The 8.1, it says care must be taken that the exercise does not constitute a wasteful exercise. The exercise of reconducting interviews is not an exercise required by the House, and as the committee is of the view that overall, overall processes was followed correctly. This is the how we agreed last week in our meeting. There does not, when I enlarge this thing, it goes back. So there does not on the facts presented to us appear to be a need for repeating the total interview exercise. Therefore, as the National Assembly has not instructed the Portfolio Committee to reconduct the interviews, the decision to do so will rest entirely on whether the committee is of the view that the challenge presented by the content of the report cannot be resolved in any way other than redoing to whole exercise. If so, the committee may proceed with the process anew. Number 2, take me to 8.2. Would I, however, rather recommend that the committee identifies, thank you very much. We would, however, rather recommend that the committee identifies the exact nature of the challenge and address that in isolation. For example, as stated above, if the challenge is only in respect of new information, we recommend that the committee simply deals with that new information, afford the affected candidate an opportunity to respond. And then the other one, a potential on bias or discrimination, a further legal risk may arise where a candidate's score is adjusted downwards, as the argument may be made that there was undue influence in between the first and second interviews. If a score is to be adjusted due to an error or new information, the justification for that adjustment must be clearly documented to avoid an allegation of the bias or discrimination. 8.4, another legal risk is the possible perception that the process is revisited. It ran away. Another legal risk in the possible perception that the process is revisited in order to manipulate the processes. I wanted, Honorable Sarah, on what you said, you also consider the risks that the legal advisors are giving us. I wanted to read that. With regard to re-interviewing. Honorable Malimacha, over to you, sir.
No, thank you very much. I think the mistake that we want to commit here is this one. We invited, or we sought legal opinion. They gave us in writing. Because of the transparency of how we do things, in the MANCO, we received and agreed that this is not our document. But because we are not legal gurus, let's take the document to the PC. And in the PC, we are now giving everybody this document. But because we know that there are some legal gurus technologies, we will want them just speak to what they wrote. Then they leave us with the document. That is what we wanted. Now we have a meeting. That meeting is now the continuation of that meeting. We consider that report. Now, as we finally consider the report with legal opinion, is now where we are moving on. Now, I see like we even attempt to try, if not attempt to can engage them, which there was no problem earlier on. But to go deeper now, it's like we are opening a meeting with them instead of saying, you gave us what we ordered to you. As the committee, we will go and see it. And nothing stops us that in case seated there, we need them, we can invite them. Because this meeting is not purely for this, but nothing wrong to put the item of receiving, because this information belongs to all of us. Now, for an example, we end up going to a situation of telling us who attended, who not attended, doing this. No, it's like fighting in front of the public. It's not benefiting anyone. But what is gonna good and be progressive? One will suggest that we have received it. It's now the MANCO to set up a date continuation of that consideration. We will be dealing with both report from the NA to say what is it that wanted us to deal with and what is it that we didn't want. How do we then say we go forward? That will be my plea to all of us to say, let's not be tempted to want to derail the meeting from its original planning, then end up being taken by the issue that even if we do anything here, it's going to say, but was that meeting called for that? Then the question will be no. I'm saying let's avoid things that we are agitated by the material conditions on the ground. What is proper is what I'm suggesting, subject to other comrades' view. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Honorable Malemaja. I think it was advisable because we are trying to find each other here. It's good that we did indicate that we discussed the issue on the 18th. And it's good that we have heard that after that meeting, members were part of that proceedings by listening to what happened in the meeting. I think there's no problem in that. Now, they have asked the legal advisors questions. I would request Metalana to respond to those that she thinks she can respond to, and if ever Talana and Meshamin, if ever maybe they don't have the responses now, they can as well go back and bring back the responses. But I want to allow them. Honorable Malemaja, is your hand up?
It might be legal. Sorry about that. No, thank you. I understand.
All right, thank you very much. So now I want to take it back to the legal advisors to try and advise us or respond to the questions that the honorable members raised now. And then we'll then take the route that the honorable managers has advised us to take now. Thank you very much. Over to the legal advisors.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Chair. I think Honorable Malemacha and yourself, you both answered the question regarding to the scope of this legal opinion and what we were instructed to do. So we were instructed to answer the question regarding the interviews and to look at the resolution of the National Assembly, which we did. Regarding the National Assembly resolution, Honorable Singh, the resolution, and I'm looking at the minutes and they're in front of me, the resolution says that the report was considered. The report was not withdrawn according to the minutes. There was no debate. However, it was agreed that the report be referred back to the Portfolio Committee on Small Business Development for further consideration and report. And then with regards to Honorable Sapo's question, I think also, Chairperson, you covered me there, because if you look at paragraph 8 of our opinion, we say that as to the specific question of reconducting the interviews, although we cannot point to any legal or constitutional argument against such a decision, we must caution that such an exercise will involve cost, time, and may oppose a number of legal risks. And Chairperson, you so eloquently set out the various risks. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Metalana. Meshamin?
Thank you, Chairperson. Thank you to the members. I don't think I've got anything really to add to what Talana has said. Maybe what we could just highlight is we need to consider the wording of the resolution, and the committee may also just have to consider the procedural implications should the committee decide to go broader than that resolution. We can't advise on that. It's not a legal question, it's a procedural question. So in other words, if the committee says the report was referred back, but we decide to redo the interviews, it may be necessary for the committee to go back to the House to ask for that mandate to be extended. You'll recall when Talana presented the opinion, we indicated committees are an extension of the House and you act on the mandate that the House gives you. So perhaps just to put that out there as well as part of the discussions that the committee will then have, because that would be a procedural matter to also consider. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much for the responses. I see the hand of Sarah, but now I was thinking of, before we close the matter, I allow the members of the political parties to then talk to the issue, as Honorable Malemaja put it on the table. If ever that is allowed or agreed to, I will then request that Honorable Sarah be the first one. Honorable Mababalo, I see your hand, will be the second one. And then we go to Honorable Malemaja, and then Nkosili Tuli, comrade, not comrade, sorry, Honorable Mafahani, in that order. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
start.
Chair. Thank you, Chair. I'm not sure if our legal advisors are going to stay on the meeting, but I would just like them to answer because I know what they've based their legal opinion on. We will go back and listen to that recording of the meeting. I would just like if they could tell us if the report was withdrawn, if it turns out that the report was actually withdrawn, would their legal opinion have been different? And secondly, Chair, regarding what you want to discuss now, the DA's position is clear. The minimum, apart from running the whole process again, the minimum that the DA will settle for will be re-interviewing all 8 candidates. That's the DA's position. For you, Chair, on record. Thank you.
Order, Chair. Order, Chair.
Oh, yes, order taken.
Honorably, our patient is running dry now. Isn't it that we are given this? Why do we give conditions to what that we're still going to discuss? I think, Honorable Singh, via you, the Chair, in a good spirit, we don't want to hear anybody's position here. Isn't that they've given us what we're supposed to do? In the meeting, you'll put your position. In this case, it's like we were going to put this condition, there's that condition. I think they were much abused, Chair. Thank you.
Okay, before I rule on what you said, let me hear the Honorable Babalo Matulelo, because I noted her earlier on. Honorable Babalo, I see the hand of Honorable Support.
Thank you very much, Chair. You know, there was a very painful thing that happened in the meeting of the 18th last week. I think there were even some of the words that, Chair, you were subjected to even withdraw, of which they were very painful. But, Chairperson, today again was subjected to a problem. The meeting that we're dealing with today, the statement was out by our cluster to say that this portfolio committee has asked for a legal opinion. And the public, including and every proceedings, that as we are always consistent with the section of 59 of the Constitution, this meeting again, Chair, is not there. It's not broadcasted live. I don't know what is happening because it seems like we are being managed by the staff here. I don't understand why this meeting is not live. Because we're hiding nothing here. We want to get to the conclusion and also to resolve this matter. We've been waiting for the ombuds, but now we're derailed by people who are not accountable for the public, who are not even elected as public servants. I don't know why this thing is happening like this. And all the concerns that I've raised today, if you remember, right, Chair, even in the proceedings, I've been raising these things, and it was not yourself personally, but these people who are responsible to give us credentials of this, in the case of the secretary, they did not do it the correct manner, even when we raised the matter. Now our meeting is not broadcast live as well. And we are consistently raising the Section 59 of the Constitution that the proceedings of Parliament must be in a public manner. They must be in an open manner. And the open manner is not amongst ourselves. Chairperson, I think you must also intervene on this. I don't know what is happening here. Seems like we're being managed, and they are trying by all means that whatever we're resolving here must again be under carpet. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. I did not want to make noise on it because Honorable Balungile in our chat group, she stated that, and the researcher said we are attending to it, of which is very wrong that we should attend to it while our meeting has started. We've been talking about this issue. I don't know what is happening with our staff. when it comes to this issue. I don't know what is the problem. Actually, I agree with Honorable Matulelo and Honorable Sapo because she noted it when we started with the meeting, just to say, really, this is not pleasing, and can this be rectified, or maybe we get the reason why are we being managed indeed. Honorable Sapo, over to you, ma'am. Thank you, Honorable Matulelo.
Thank you very much, Chair. You know, Chair, I thought at some point we have been threatened in this meeting, and if you allow that to happen, we can put that back, we can push it back, and we fear no one. What we are not going to stand is to be threatened in a meeting. There's nothing wrong when honorable members raise what they want to raise. But to go as far as threatening us, that will be a problem. And we will push back if we have to. We don't fear them. If they want to bring it on, they can do that. We are equal to the task. I think, Chair, what is important, because the legal advice that we're looking for, we have received now. It's then up to the committee to go back and discuss the matter. There's nothing wrong with that, because we initially agreed that immediately then we received the advice, we will make a determination. I am not sure what angers some of honorable members, and Chair, it must be clear, we're not working with the conditions of anyone. There's no one that is superior than all of us in this meeting. We're not interested in their conditions. They can go and put them elsewhere. We are not going to work based on their conditions. There's nothing wrong if they raise what is their position. It's okay, it's their right, but they must not put conditions to us. What I suggest is that let's, if there are no questions, or honorable members no longer have questions for the legal team, we can release them, and then we make a determination as we agree that we're going to make such determination. Then we move forward. I don't think there is anything beyond this, because what we're looking for, we received it. If we're not satisfied, we will then arrive at that point when we make a determination that based on the legal advice that we have received, we are not satisfied. Then what is the way forward? I think that is my suggestion, Chair. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm a good listener. Let me allow our legal advisors to go and attend other issues. And also before they leave, Measurement and Metalana, thank you very much for honoring our request. And thank you that you allocated yourself this time out of your busy schedule to come and be with us in the meeting. We really appreciate. Even tomorrow, when we request you for an advice, please do so. Thank you very much. You can be released.
Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you.
Chairperson. Bye.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Bye. Honorable members, I would want to agree with the members that spoke and that tried to give a direction that we have received the legal opinion. We will set up a date whereby we discuss the letter, and then we then come up with a way forward. I think we are agreeing on this one. Honorable Malemacha has advised that we do not consult political parties, because we are still going to check the letter and put in a date and come back. I thought maybe we would listen to the legal advice opinion and then finish off this matter. But anyhow, it does not look like it want to be finished today. On that note, I would want to thank you for the engagement that you have put forward. And I would request, now I'm going to request as a mother that every time when we discuss the issues, let's try and respect each other, so that we don't arrive in a situation whereby members are angry at each other and everybody would want to show her or his muscle. That is my request, that let's try to work as a member of one family who is representing the people that are suffering on the ground. Thank you very much. I would request that we close the matter and the issue of the media. Secretariat, please. I don't know how we can then put it on the table, because we requested many times that it shouldn't happen again. So even today it's happening. I don't know how I can put the request really. But anyhow, we are closing it in that manner that we are not happy about the way media is being treated in this office. Maybe Secretary, you need to check with I see your hand, Tataman Maja. Secretary, you need to also check with Justice, because he is the one who is dealing with the media, that what he's doing really is not assisting the community. Thank you very much, Honorable Malemacha. Honorable Malemacha, is it the
Thank you, Chair. I think we need to put more weight on this issue. Can the Secretary, before we start every meeting, then they confirm with us the issue of media? We really want to be seen on the television, and it's not by favor. We are honorable members like any other honorable members. It's very painful that it's coming from one angle, and as other angle we enjoy these things. Can we all of us rally behind one voice and say, King, Secretary, whoever that is dealing here, if we've got a problem of communication, let it be resolved in totality. It can't be correct that if we are not even on a YouTube, and we're not saying we are best on YouTube, if other people are getting the television, we will want us to be on the television. Maybe it will be more sound than when we come, all of us, to say, well, we want to be on the television. I just wanted, Chair, to say, let the Secretariat know that before we start any meeting, this question be posed. It can't be when we are in the middle of the process, after contributed so much, then we realize that no, we were nowhere to be seen. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Malemacha. Truly speaking, when I was noting that indeed we are not our meeting is not being broadcast, raised by the Honorable Sapo, it really raises eyebrows, and it causes a headache that are not supposed to be there. I think that will assist us. They must put it on the agenda. Or maybe we say, King, always when you do the apology, tell us if ever we are live, so that we don't talk about this issue again. Thank you very much, honorable members, and thanks for your participation in the advices. We are moving forward to have a briefing on Tourism Equity Fund by the Department of Tourism. Let me take this opportunity, because we normally do not have the Department of Tourism in our meeting. We are used to having our own department, and say to the Department of Tourism, we really appreciate that you really honored our invitation. I see we have the Deputy Minister. I'm sure it's the Deputy Minister of Tourism. You're welcome, Ma, with the people that you are with in the meeting. I did not see the Minister in the meeting, but I would want to take this opportunity and allow our Deputy Minister from Tourism to take us through before we go into the presentation. Over to you, Honorable Deputy Minister. Am I audible? Hello?
Yes, Chair, you are audible to me.
All right, thank you very much. Over to the Deputy Minister.
Honorable Chairperson, it's the Director General from Tourism, Victor Vele. It looks like the Deputy Minister might have been disconnected. I'm looking at the gallery. I'm not seeing her anymore. It looks like she might have been disconnected.
Okay, Director General.
She's still online according to my here.
Yes.
The participant deputy minister is still online, and
yes.
her mic is on and need a video, but we cannot see her.
That's what I wanted to say. I said I see her. She's still on the call, and it looks like her mic is open. Maybe it might be the problem of network. So on that note, DG would request that you take us through, and then maybe if she will then be able to come in at the end, she will then come in after your presentation. Thank you very much. Over to you, DG.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson, and greetings to all the honorable members, to the Deputy Minister, to the colleagues, both from small business development as well as colleagues from the Department of Tourism and colleagues from the Portfolio Committee, the staff members from the Portfolio Committee. Honorable Chairperson, I will go through this presentation. We had arranged that I was going to ask the DDG to go through it, but I've noted that we are at 22 past 10, so I'll try to run through the presentation. And if permitted, Honorable Chairperson, may I please switch off the video just for connectivity? My network is a little bit...
yes, you may switch off your video. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll ask that the person who's controlling the slides put on slide mode, on presentation mode. We don't need the, okay, now I'll take it. Thank you. I want to start, Honorable Chairperson and Honorable members, by indicating that as of Friday, the 20th of March, 2026, we have an approval from the Minister to proceed with the implementation of the Tourism Equity Fund and ensuring that the applications that were already processed and were already at advanced stage are finalized, and we communicated that information again on Friday to SIDFA, and they are now in that particular process. I will speak to that in detail at the end of the presentation, but I thought it is important that I deposit this information right up front, as it then answers the bigger question, which is then what, after we've presented everything. We had a launch in January 2021 of the TEF, and even at that time when it was launched, it was between SIFA, as it was at that time, and the department. Subsequent to the launch, there was a court challenge, and that court challenge was basically to request for the court to issue an interdict. And subsequent to that interdict, the applicants would then ensure that they follow through with the substantive case. That went on for a considerably long period of time.
Sorry, DG, sorry. I received a note that the Deputy Minister has rejoined. Can we check if ever she is able to talk now? And
Yes,
also to request that you try to increase the speed in your presentation, or maybe because we managed to go through the presentation, you stick to the recent issues that will be able to assist the committee. Maybe I should explain that we notice the pain that the people are enjoying down on the ground when we're doing the oversight visit. That is why we invited the tourism committee to come and specifically tell us what is happening with tourism equity fund. Let me check. Deputy Minister, are you able to talk, ma'am?
Yes, Chair. I am sorry about what happened earlier. My gadget just decided to freeze, but I had then to use my cell phone.
Okay, ma'am.
No, Chair. I think since the DG has already started with the presentation, I would rather make a comments at the end of the presentation so that I don't take your time. Let DG then continue. Thank you so much, Chairperson.
Thank you so much, our Honorable Deputy Minister. That has been progressive of you. DG, over to you, sir.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. So we had an interdict, and subsequent to that interdict, we literally got stuck, if I could put it like that, and we were not able to move forward. Now that is 2021. 2022, and already we had some submissions that were made. The value of the applications at that time that had already been pre-assessed and so on was roughly 5.6 billion rands. So there was huge appetite when it was actually opened for the first time. To ensure that we don't find ourselves completely stuck, then there was an intervention from the minister to settle the matter out of court. That process then ensued. Next slide, please. So that process then ensued. And what happened in that particular process was that there was an agreement to say, instead of the 51% that was originally 51% black ownership that was originally in the TEF, that would require the DTIC minister's processes and so on, we revert back to the tourism BE codes, triple BE codes, which provide for 30% ownership. But the codes, because they were already gazetted, were enforceable as law. So that was then agreed. And upon that agreement, it was also then made an order of the court so that it could then be enforceable. And subsequent to that, then processes then were undertaken to make sure that there is a redesign which is in line with the new agreement, and making sure that all the other processes that need to be in place are in place. Obtained cabinet's concurrence that we should actually then proceed with it. And then we had a 3-year agreement that we signed with CIFA at that time, and that was October 2023. That agreement has got a lifespan that expires only October 2026. November, there was an announcement of the applications are now going to be taken, and 6th of November, then the applications we started to receive them. And once we were in that particular process, then during that particular window, we were then able to get as many of the applications that were coming through, and making sure that there was also a sense of readiness in terms of processing of these applications. Let's go to the next slide. December, there was Minister then also informed the public of where the status of the applications were, and these were the applications that had been received at that particular point in time that were also deemed complete. Of course, there were others that would not necessarily be complete as such, and would be referred back, and there would be others that are not necessarily relevant. So somebody would apply, but it's not necessarily within even the sector of tourism and so on. But they see there's money there, and they would then just put in applications. We then recapitalized based on the numbers that we were actually seeing, and that was to a tune of 59 billion and 59 million rands. And I do need to indicate that we were able to capitalize this fund during that period when there was an interdict, because that part was not interdicted. It was the processing and the awarding that was actually interdicted. So we were able to at least capitalize it over that particular period. And more of the applications kept coming. If you look at the December one, we had 131 that were complete, and we've got 329 that were complete by April 5th. And at this particular point in time, around April 2 were approved. And then the pipeline was also now having the ones that are in due diligence and the ones that would have passed the pre-screening phase and those that were at the pre-screening phase. And we can move on to the next slide. So there was another update to the media, also to the public, let me put it that, to the public, by the minister with regards to that particular pipeline. So that was April. July, we were at 441 complete TF applications. And we also had 5 that were already approved. 1 had withdrawn and was no longer going to be taking up the offer, which left us with 4 basically that were approved. We had 41 at due diligence, and we had 309 that had passed the pre-screening process, as well as 89 that were at that particular stage of pre-screening. By August, we had a slight increase by 1. So from July to August, we had a slight increase by 1. So we were at 6. But of course, I've spoken about the one that had already withdrawn. And here we were starting to see some movement, because the ones that had been declined were now beginning to show some had been declined. The ones that were due diligence, that number was reducing compared to the previous ones, but it was actually adding to the declines as well. And then we also had others that were referred back in terms of additional information that was actually required. 16th of August, there was a meeting that was convened between the 2 ministers, Minister Delil and Minister Ndabeni. And that particular meeting looked at the progress. There were concerns that were expressed with regards to the progress that was made up till that particular point. And there were also marching orders that there's got to be a catch-up plan, and that catch-up plan is actually going to be able to assist in making sure that we fast-track the processing of these applications from the side of the implementing agent. That recapitalization I've spoken about actually assisted us to be at 1.313 billion. Now, I need to qualify this. This is not money coming from the Department of Tourism. The Department of Tourism's money was about 600 or so, and we have got 600 million or so. And then we've got the remainder that would come from SIFA, that would SIFA, then as loans. There will be money that would come from private banking institutions that would also come as loans. Let's move on to the next one. Thank you. And then by September, So we were, in August, we had a report that talked about the 6 less 1. September, we were talking about 12 applications that have actually been approved. And there was, at this point, the minister approached, Minister Delil approached the Minister of Finance to establish whether there was an alternative that could be explored, and the basis of which was largely the delays in terms of the processing of the applications and the disbursements of the application of the money to the applications that have been successful. What then came out of that was that the PIC as well as the DBSA both were identified as possible options that could be considered at that point in time. I'll speak a little bit about that as I progress with the presentation. There was an instruction, if I could put it like that. I'm just trying to fast track, Honorable Chairperson. There was another update that was done by the minister to the public, and which expressed concerns about this was around December, which expressed concerns about the speed of the processing of the applications and so on, and the fact that at the end of the contract period, there would not be a renewal of that contract. And this was a statement in January. So the first one was really about concerns about the progress and so on. But in January, there was an indication that there will not necessarily be a reinstatement. Let's move on. Again in January, there was an instruction from the minister to say we will need to cancel this particular contract. We will not be proceeding with it and so on. And the engagements that then took place, including engagements from the side of administration, myself, with the legal people within and also outside in terms of sourcing the advice and so on, engaging also with National Treasury. We looked at the overall agreement, and in the agreement, the main thing was how do we ensure that the money that is already capitalized in that fund would still be able to go to the applicants who are successful by processing all these things. And between those two bodies that we talked about, the PIC as well as the DBSA, Minister met with the PIC, and they also met with the department, but we then discovered that unfortunately the way that they work is not the same way that the TF is designed. They've got a whole different mandate. Even the limits in terms of the applicable thresholds that they deal with in terms of their monies and so on, they are much higher. And if they are to get involved in this, it would be in a whole different arrangement, which would not necessarily be in the same construct as the original agreement, that the fund management agreement. What we were, and also when we discussed with the DBSA, part of the issue that came up was that we are overexposed with them, particularly regarding our own infrastructure program, which they manage on our behalf as an implementing agent. And if we were to load other things in that sort of way, we are getting ourselves more and more exposed to a single agency. We then looked at other provisions in the fund management agreement. There was a provision that specifically stated that the agreement can be ceded to another body. And that would mean that money does not get lost. We cede it to another body, and they continue with exactly as it was actually constructed, as if they are CIDFA, but without implications for CIDFA. So after we had considerations of all of that, largely internally, we then came to an agreement with CIDFA that we should not necessarily cancel, but we should have a process that would enable us to get from their side a closeout report whilst we are exploring all the different options that we would be able to consider as a way forward. Next slide, please. Then we received initial closeout report, but there were outstanding things in terms of what was expected. The position of CIDFA at that time was that there were some POPIA requirements that could be a challenge, and their view was that if a third party is getting all this information and they are the ones who collected it, there may be an issue. And there were proposals like, should we put a public notice on the Gazette to say people should opt in this way, and that would not necessarily be proper POPIA way of doing it, so that would not necessarily go through. And then the question was, should we then write to all the different applicants, the thousands of the applicants, and say, this is the situation, we would like you to consent in this manner and that manner. So we spent some time in this legal opinion space trying to get what would be the most appropriate way forward. Ultimately, there was an understanding that yes, the information can then come to the department. The department would then deal with that. Then we went on with that particular process. Next slide, please. So after we had done all of that, we then did a submission to the minister. This was in September 2025. We did a submission to the minister. And this was after having considered all the aspects that were raised in terms of the POPIA issues and where they are in terms of the actual report. And we then said, we proposed that those applications that were at a very advanced stage should actually proceed and get finalized. So some were waiting for the final committee, the credit committee. Some were waiting for finalization of the due diligence and so on. Along those lines, and this is the part that I was saying from the beginning, that there is now agreement that they should be the CIDFA should proceed with the applications that are advanced at advanced stage, which would actually be in a position to commit all the money, and the indication is that by end of May they would be able to. So CIDFA then had given us all the information that they needed to give with regards to we needed a plan that says, are you going to be able to commit all the money by March 2025 so that you remain with the other period for purposes of clearing everything and making sure that everything is 2026 rather, making sure that whatever comes after that is no longer about still committing money, it's about disbursements, and that would be moving us towards some kind of a closure. Let's move to the next one. December 2025, Minister requested that we provide more information. and obtain that information from SITFA. That information was, one, the current legal status of the fund management agreement, which was still valid until 2026 October. The outstanding beneficiary and pipeline information that Minister had requested for, updated implementation plan, given that we were in December, and the one that we received it in September. So if we received it that period, it would then mean that going forward, some days, if we had not started certain things, we would have to move them forward as such. Governance and risk management assurances, as well as conditions for possible reinstatement of SITFA, which is now what has actually happened as we speak. February, there was an updated implementation plan that was actually submitted. Finally, in March, there's an agreement that SITFA should proceed with the implementation as per the implementation plan that was submitted, and it's envisaged that end of May, they should have already committed all the funds, and what we'll be dealing with post that will be issues of management of disbursements and some of those post-investment issues that they normally deal with. The next slide, please. Perhaps one thing that I should spend a bit time there, of course, it's important to indicate that the value of the approved transactions to date, the 466 million, it's estimated that it would create 1,483 jobs. And then, of course, the bulk of the money goes to the construction issues and so on. And at the end of the day, then there are jobs that would actually also come through in terms of permanent jobs going forward. It's distributed this across the whole country, of course, not at the same scale. And this is a factor of the applications themselves and the quality of the applications in some of the cases and so on. So you would have it varying from KZN with 6 all the way to 3 other provinces with 3, that will be Western Cape, Limpopo, as well as Eastern Cape. And then we've got Free State with 2, together with Gauteng, as well as Northwest. And then 1 for Northern Cape, as well as Mpumalanga. The overall money that we put in as the Department of Tourism, which is the 600 million, the amount committed to date is 239 million. And that includes the grant component, which is 121 million, as well as the concessionary loan. So there is a part which is concessionary loan from the department side, and this was designed for ensuring that we replenish the fund for the future applicants as well. It had been built in. There is a remaining 361 million from what the department had contributed to the fund. And in terms of disbursements, it is encouraging that we have got 90% of all these commitments disbursed. Now, the important part of that is the 10% which they will be finalizing and so on. 90% would ensure that the process that they are now going to undertake with the remainder of the pipeline does not get to put the previous amounts that were still to be disbursed and so on. Don't put a burden on the capacity with regards to ensuring that the disbursements are actually done. Interests are repaid to the revenue account, so we don't keep the interests with us. We make sure that Treasury gets that money back. Let's move to the next one. This is just information with regards to the pipeline and the distribution in terms of provinces and so on. Suffice to indicate that 571 million is the amount that equates to the 21 projects that are at an advanced stage that are ready for the finalization. And these are also said to be attracting 879 jobs that would come from that. Let's go to the next one. I've already spoken to all of this. So going forward, the department and SITFA will be working together to make sure that this is finalized, of course, with role differentiation. Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson and Honorable Members.
Thank you very much, DG Victor. Deputy Minister, over to you, ma'am.
No, thank you very much, Chairperson, and thanks also to DG for the presentation that is so clear. Indeed, Chairperson, I heard your remark when you say that people are at pains on the ground because of all these delays that happened during this process. I think the DG's presentations touched on all the issues that caused the delay and the processing of all the applications, of which the main thing that caused this delay was the process of taking the legal route, which was not done expeditiously. From myself, because I went through the presentation, we discussed this during the course of all these challenges that we had with CIFA, which is now SITFA, which was led, of course, by Minister Delil, and also the fact that the identified entities were not in a position then of taking over this funding. Therefore, from myself, I'm sure that SITFA is part of this meeting, because I had a discussion with the acting CEO, of which it will be helpful if they are here, so that if there is some information that DG presentation might have left out, and then we can get that from them if there is, and then we'll then be guided by yourself and the team, or by yourself and the members of parliament, with regard to questions of clarities, or even questions that members might have questions on with regard to the presentation. From myself, Chairperson, I think everything that DG has alluded to what then I know, and then what then was engaged in when I joined the organizations 2 years ago. Thank you very much, Comrade Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Minister. Unfortunately, we invited the Department of Tourism. If ever they are in the meeting, then it will be just by, would say we are lucky that they are here. But what I'm seeing on the list of the participants is the representatives or the PLO of the Office of the Minister. So on that note, let me allow the honorable members to interrogate the presentation. If ever they have questions, it is time for them to ask questions. If ever there are comments, they are available to do so in that order. And I would request that honorable members, let us respect time, because I have another meeting to go to attend, meeting of the chairpersons of committees. So I don't want to be late. I am requesting that we stick to our questions and not start with the preamble. If ever, that will be fine with the honorable members. Thank you very much. Can I see by a show of hands? I see the first one is Honorable Sapo. You may speak as I note the other hands. Honorable Sapo, over to you.
Thank you very much, Chair. Good morning to you, to the Deputy Minister and the delegation from Department of Tourism. I saw, Chair, the acting CEO and the DG. I think they're part of the meeting. The DG of Small Business, I think both of them are part of this meeting. Chair,
let me check, ma'am. Let me check if they are part of the meeting. Do they have any addition on the presentation of our DG from tourism? And unless if you sell them on our first meeting. Oh, DG's here. DG, can I offer you this opportunity, ma? As per the request from the Deputy Minister of Tourism. Mayor Manzini?
She just logged in and left the meeting. I'm joking, Chair.
She's still here in the meeting. Okay, allow me to say you continue. If ever maybe there's something with regards to the questions, maybe they would want to come in. Let me allow you to
Thanks.
continue.
Thanks, Chair. They are sleeping on duty, both and they.
Honorable Safo. You know that, let me come in there. You know that this network is not good today. Even myself, I'm trying to move around this office of parliament. Let's not use that harsh word that they are sleeping on duty and say maybe they're struggling to unlock and then they will come in. Now is your time.
Thanks, Chair. I refuse to accept that, but that's fine. Thanks, Chair. Just a few things from my side in appreciating the report from the DG of tourism. Chair, I am really not happy and really struggle to understand where is exactly the problem. I am raising this, Chair, because the comment of the DM says businesses are struggling on the ground. But you can see from the presentation that, Chair, I thought it was good for them to give us some background, but I thought it will give us exactly the current status of where things are. But when the DG takes off, she said the approval was made now in March. I'm not sure whether it was a coincidence that we'll have this meeting and then all of a sudden then that particular approval to take things back to SEDFA just happened. Maybe it's just a coincidence. But if you check, Chair, there seems to be a gap between 2024 and 2026. It seems like there's nothing that happened in the entire 2025. I just want to check if I got that correctly. If I did, what made a DG that there were literally no approval in 2025? Was it because of capacity issues from the start of our entity, or were there any problems within your department? I am raising this, Chair, because when you check numbers, they are very low. Numbers of approvals, they are very low as compared to the numbers of applications received. Yes, I am not ruling out, Chair, the issues of compliance and legislative requirements, of which I think that might also be a problem. But when you check there was a slide that indicates somewhere that at some point in 2024, there were only 2 approvals out of more than 300 applications received. You know, Chair, in simple terms, to those that understand Xhosa, I think this particular process, literally, there is no way. This is not even what is called a poor performance. That's literally something that does not exist. And I think I refuse. I honestly not convinced that it's because of incapacity from the side of entity. Honestly, I think I refuse to believe that. But I think there's a lack of accountability and the lack of management of how this fund is being rolled out. Another thing, Chair, I think somewhere in 2024, again, around September, more than 600 applications were received, but very few approvals that were made. I know that at some point we had a meeting with COGTA,
having the issue, discussing the issue of licensing and requirements and how municipalities are in and not having capacity to fast track the process. Yes, I'm not ruling out all those things, Chair, because yes, there are legislative requirements that they must be met by applicants. But how do we then assist the process? Because yes, it may happen that a huge number of applications received might have those issues. But how do we then assist them to make sure that at least there is the progress? I do not have confidence, even now, that there is a new approval made, that there will be any changes or any drastic improvement out of this process. I really wanted to hear the voice of the DG of small business from the side of the department in terms of the entity. What really happened and how are they planning to improve all of this? But for me, Chair, I am really not happy about what we received. But maybe, Chair, if the committee then intends to have a next meeting, I would prefer a presentation that speaks to the current status. And just we remove, it's okay, we will receive that history, but we put it aside, because for me, it diluted actually what I would really wanted to hear from the presentation. But Chair, I will leave everything there for now. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Malemachi.
Thank you very much. Good morning, colleagues. Good morning, everybody in a new meeting. Chair, I want to align myself with the words of DMS further echoed by Honorable Sapp. I think what will help all of us is to know the status of this matter. And if the status of this matter, which must be a permanent thing, the money is now being released to small business, then the small business present their plan in our meeting when we meet, then the small business go and assist the people on the ground. The report that they gave us, we have read, we have seen it. I want the issue that we are no longer going to come and be told that this money is no longer coming out, this can work. I really, if indeed all of us were very concerned, which I don't think there's any member who can go contrary to that, it's high time that tourism, the money be permanently approved for the usage, so that whatever that has been there in a form of application, they get this. You know, it's very painful that there are people who might have even lost their lives, having hope on this. Now, it is between X and Y. This month, X approve. When Y is about to execute, then there's a comeback, there's no longer approval and all the stuff. So I just wanted to emphasize that indeed we are really dealing with a very sensitive issue. The issue what the public want to hear is the money is being released, SIDVA go and execute your plan and your account to us in terms of that plan. Was not more of question, Chair, was more of saying we are at pain when it's coming to this matter. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Honorable Malemachi. I'm sure they are listening and they are also feeling the pain. Honorable Matulelo, over to you, ma'am. Honorable Matulelo, it's your chance. I don't know whether she is struggling with the network or okay. Okay, it's your time, Honorable Matulelo. I can see your mic is open.
Oh, thank you, Chair. Greetings once again. I'm happy that today we are having the tourism department amongst ourselves, and also I'm also having concerns that I'm having a question, Chair Umbuzo, okay. Now that we called them into this meeting and we had different concerns about this tourism equity fund and Noguti Futi, we wrote questions also as well to inquire and ask them in terms of what is their immediate solution with regards to taking this away from the Department of Small Business, because also we get a chairperson very concerned all the time. Anything that is being challenged by Abo Afri Forum and others, we always get concerned and we dig deeper and check. And then indeed, Chair, really this equity fund is very important, more especially to empower abantu bethu abamnyama abakhasayo in phansi kwale sector yakwa-tourism. Therefore, Chairperson, the Tourism Equity Fund was introduced to transform an industry still dominated by a white monopoly capital. Hence, Chairperson Divule ngokuthi the white monopoly capital, they reject that our people, they must get this. They even fought that it must be even taken away from the Department of Small Business. Yet what we see today is not a transformation, it is a paralysis, bureaucracy, and the continued exclusion of the Black entrepreneurs, Chairperson. Although it is in the department, but they also interfere with the progress in terms of giving our people the services abagule tourism sector. The fund has become the textbook example of how government institutions frustrate economic justice, despite a fund valued at approximately 1.3 billion, Chairperson. Only a small portion has been utilized. Despite the fact that we are consistently, as this portfolio committee, fighting that this equity fund, tourism equity fund, must come back and must be consistently given to our people, and the priority should be those who were previously disadvantaged. With a significant amount remaining uncommitted while Black businesses collapse due to a lack of funding. Chairperson, this is unacceptable. You cannot speak of transformation while sitting on the money meant for our Black people. That one, Chairperson, we're not in agreement with. The pace of implementation is scandalous. By April 2024, only 2 applications, imagine, insult Jalo, Chairperson, were approved. They've approved 300 applications. What does the approval mean if ever our people, they are unable to be given the funding? And in 2024, according to the turnaround time, Chairperson, and according to our understanding, it should not take more than 3 months, more than 30 days to the approval. It cannot take more than 30 days. An approval rate of less than 1%, even by November 2024, approval stood at just 20 out of 624 applications. This is not inefficiency, Chairperson. This is systemic exclusion disguised as e-administration. This is exposure of the government failures between the Department of Tourism and the department that is made to fail, by the way. For now, we are taking the blame, all the blame to the tourism. Where information was withheld and accountability was weakened. When institutions hide information from each other, the victims are the poor Black entrepreneurs. Chairperson, we also note that hundreds of applications remain stuck in the pre-screening stages, meaning aspiring Black tourism operators are trapped in the paperwork while established capital continued to dominate to the sector. This proves that the Chairperson so-called blended finance model is not designed for the poor. It is designed for those who already have capital. We rejected this model of loan disguised as an empowerment. Poor entrepreneurs do not need e-debts, they need e-direct state funding, Chairperson. Furthermore, the underutilized of the funds represents economic sabotage at a time when unemployment is rising. Chairperson, transformation delayed is a transformation denied. We therefore demand immediate disbandment of the unused funds directly to Black-owned tourism enterprises, with the removal of bureaucratic due to diligence process that favor established capital, a shift from loan-based funding to a grant-based funding for emerging entrepreneurs. Monthly reporting to Parliament on proposals and approvals and disbursements. Chairperson, we want to demand that. Yes, we hear that they are saying they took it back, but we want we want e-reports ezizo thetha exactly about e-approvals and e-disbursements. The tourism sector remains one of the most racially skewed industries in South Africa. The failure of this fund means government is protecting the status quo. As I conclude, Chair, we will not accept transformation on paper while Black people remain skeptical in their own economy. We cannot deceive interventions, accelerated funding, and real economic power for Black entrepreneurs. Not promises, not delays, but actions. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much.
But also, Chair, before I close, Chair, sorry, I wanted to suggest that if you are running for another meeting, we are free to be delegated to continue with the work of Parliament in this portfolio committee. Thank you, Chair.
Honorable member, we will need time to run our meeting, and if we request each other humbly so that we stick to time, like you did, though you did take any other 2 minutes, you were on time, so we cannot really allow you to control the meeting while I'm still the chairperson. I am chairing, and when I chair, you must listen to the chairperson. Thank you very much. Honorable Mafagani, over to you, ma.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Good morning, honorable members, and good morning to the department. Let me start by saying that indeed it's unfortunate that when Black people's time comes for them to be included in the economy, they are hit with lawsuits. The whole taking this fund to court was a delay in transforming the economy and making sure that our previously disadvantaged people get the service of the government. So that was the unfortunate part. And I think that's where the gap is. And that's how the gap was created, because the other parties felt that they want to fence and they want to keep this very important sector in our country in the same hands that it has been for the past 60 years. They don't want a transformation. They don't want a balanced economy, which is not ready. So that's the unfortunate part. And also, I want to just make a note that on the SITFA part, the delay on the SITFA part, I'm not speaking for them, for non-implementation and the delay on the funding, because they've only funded 23 businesses. Also, that is a betrayal to a promise of transformation. and the fund is given back into the hands of SETFA. I want to welcome that. Why? Because also we're having a problem of double funding. You find that the Department of Small Business is funding this, and another department is funding that same streams, and another department is funding this. It's the same stream, and then we have duplication of funding going to people, and the right people not reaching the funding. So I welcome that, but also want to put a SETFA to task. DG Manzini is here to say SETFA and the department must now pull up their socks and make sure that the money that is meant for our people reach our people. And they do it with speed, because there was a great delay, some directly caused by them and some not caused by them. But an underspending of 361 million is unacceptable. And we hope now they've turned a new leaf and that they move it to make sure that our people receive this funding. I want to also agree with the honorable member who just spoke to say that SITFA must come also, and they must come and account to this. Tourism has put it back in the hands of SETFA. We need SETFA to come and give us a full audit of this fund, and they must come and give us a full implementation plan to say now that everything has been removed, all obstacles have been removed. What is the way forward to make sure that the money goes in the hands of our people? We need a full forensic audit and on TEF's implementation, including all decisions, delay, and cost barriers. Insist on a clear binding plan with monthly milestone for full commitment of the remaining 361 million, with consequences for further delays. We are no longer going to accept it's a tourism that's delaying, or it's a delay on SETFA. We want implementation, because this fund is the mandate of this is to transform, is to put Black tourism owners at a better chance of competing also. So we want them to come and account, Chairperson. For thousands of Black entrepreneurs who applied and waited, this is a betrayal of a promise of transformation. The slow pace paralyzed their hopes that they will at least also be part of this economy. So that's my notes. Thank you to tourism. Thank you for putting it back into SETFA's hands. And now we want implementation and we want results. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you very much, Honorable Molotani. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Chairperson, and greeting to honorable members, the ministers and deputy ministers who's part of the meeting, and everyone on the platform. Chairperson, let me support what was said by Honorable Sapo, that really it's so disappointing that out of the numbers that have applied, it's only 3 that have been approved. Chair, really it is so disappointing, and somewhere along the line it shows that work was not done in checking if they can be able to approve more numbers than that one. I mean, Chair, out of the numbers that have applied when I'm busy going through the report, the number that have applied is huge, than to have only 3 that has been approved. Secondly, Chair, I want the department to give us the specifics about the 23 Township Entrepreneurship Fund transaction that has worth 466 million that have been approved, including the sectoral distribution of this capital-intensive construction projects. Number 2, on the same question, the degree to which the reported 1,483 jobs created and sustained are permanent vis-a-vis temporary. The criteria used to allocate projects across provinces, given the concentration in KZN, Eastern Cape, Limpopo, and Western Cape. Lastly, the measurement in place to guarantee their fair geographic distribution, value for money, and a long-term sustainability of the supported businesses. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honorable Molotsane. I see honorable members managed to satisfy themselves. I don't see any other hand, but allow me to join the members who are disappointed in what happened. Well, when we heard that the Tourism Equity Fund is being blocked, we were very much worried, because this Tourism Equity Fund, you know, is designed to accelerate transformation, as the honorable members touched on the issue of transformation in the tourism sector. And also, when it goes to the small business development, it really touches on the life of those people, the entrepreneurs. It touches their capital. Others would make loans and it will assist them. Others will request for grant support, and then it will also assist them. So if it can be managed correctly and not be blocked again, we'll be very happy as the representatives of those that are on the ground. Indeed, I'll join the other members by saying we will request CETFA to submit an implementation plan. And this time, we do not want to hear any discrepancies that we have had in the report, part of the report whereby the minister wanted information from CETFA and she did not get that information. So we are really against that one. Question number 2. In relation to CETFA updated implementation plan of 26 February 2026, aiming at committing the remaining funds, what specific timelines, approval process, and institutional accountability measures are in place to fast-track the pipeline DG of 21 advanced stage application, comprising of 4 awaiting adjudication by the Executive Credit Investment Committee, 5 at the due diligence, level 2 and level 12, at the due diligence level of due diligence of level 1, particularly given that these projects are distributed across 8 provinces, represented an estimated investment value of 571 million rands, and have the potential to support 879 additional jobs. Furthermore, how will progress be monitored and reported to ensure timely disbursement and realization of the projected economic and employment outcomes? We would want to know if people can really get jobs. That will make us happy, and we'll know that we are also doing our work. Thank you very much. Over to you, DG.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. Is it me or DG Manzini?
Hello, it is the DG who was doing the presentation.
The presentation, okay, it will be myself. Thank you.
I'm checking. I don't see Honorable Manzini in the meeting, but I'm sure.
I saw her. I saw the name.
Okay, you may continue, and then if ever she's here, then she'll then speak after you, DG. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. Let me say that we have taken note of what the committee has expressed. From our side, we will be monitoring the implementation from SITFA. We took note of a similar approach that will be taken from the side of the PC. But we do have that obligation, contractual obligation to ensure that we do monitor this. We do hope that we will make progress with these applications that are at an advanced stage, as that would require different committees to meet and so on. But we are assured by SITFA that they will do everything within their powers to be able to deal with these applications that they're going to be dealing with. The part that I think, Honorable Chairperson, I would say is above my pay grade is the permanency of the fund. I think that's something that is at a policy level that perhaps DM or DM in discussion with the minister would be able to provide more on that. But in terms of making sure that the money that currently is in that account is fully committed, we are fully committed ourselves to make sure that that is going to be monitored closely. And the deadline that we have given in that regard is end of May 2026. So that as we progress with the remainder of the contractual period, which is up to October currently, we will then be in a position to find a sense of that progress, whether it's even just the disbursements post the commitments in that regard. The rest of the comments that have been made, we have taken note of that, and we'll thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. I'll stop there.
Okay, thank you very much, DG. I have noticed that Memanzini has got the problem of connectivity, but I see the CEO Mbata of SETFA is in the meeting. Do you want to say something, sir? Ndate Mbata?
Yes, Chair. Good morning to you, and good morning to the members, the DGs and colleagues. Indeed, I think we've been following the discussions in this meeting, and we have submitted the implementation plan to the department, which is the reason why we find ourselves in a position where we then now can continue with the fund. All hands are on deck from our side to make sure that at least now that we have the fund back, because we've been trying to engage to get the fund back, and we've been working with the department on that. And we are then saying we are prepared to work. I must say, Chairperson, that I've been following the members, and the members would see that even though we have so many applications that we have, the fund is still small, to cover everyone and to cover all the applications. You can see that from the pipeline that we have already, that there was ready last year, January 2025, for us to complete or to finish the fund by March 2025. Already the applications that we had, about 20-something, they were going to consume the entire fund. So the transactions are big in nature that we have, but it is for that reason that this fund was formed, because it needs to transfer equity into the hands of the Black entrepreneurs. And that's why the fund was designed, and was designed in that manner. So we see these transactions. We've taken some of the committee members to some of the transactions in Free State, in Eastern Cape, and probably would do so even in KZN, to see the work and how the funds have been has made a difference rather to the lives of the Black entrepreneurs through acquisitions and on some through what we built. We've opened some of these and there's great work that the fund is showcasing and that the fund is achieving. And as I said, the members have seen some of that work. So we are grateful that the fund is back. We'll continue to make sure that the fund is committed. But again, I must emphasize, Chairperson, that there is an issue of that, while we're doing so, we are a lender and we follow certain prescripts. We have a license that governs us in terms of the National Credit Regulator, that we must make sure that we do not just indebt entrepreneurs in this country just for the sake of just giving them money, but we must follow thorough processes of due diligence that will ensure that the fund is transferred and is given to the people that can pay back from that. But again, there should be no bureaucracy in following those processes to make sure that we are efficient, and as we've committed, that we'll be efficient and we'll commit the funding, so that discussions about further capitalization of the fund may be ensued going forward. But the expectation is that we will be able to complete the fund with the 500 and something million that worth of pipeline that we have, and we'll still be short. There will still be some that would not be able to get to, and I wanted to just say that upfront. But as far as us reporting monthly or to the committee reporting and so forth, I don't think the DG of the department would have an issue. That's an instruction from the committee, so we will then be able to report and have our report. But we've been ready, Chairperson, since January last year to fund these applications, and we are here saying we're taking the opportunity and we're running with it. And if we look at it, yes, there was a slow pace in the beginning, but we had to mobilize resources. We had to get the right team behind the work. And it was at the time when, if you look at the number increase of applications going through the committees, it is at that time where the machine was moving, the committees were being set, the applications were ready, that we had to stop providing or doing further approvals last year, January. But Chairperson, we are ready. We'll run with this and we'll make sure that we also do monitor the transactions and that they don't fail. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you very much, CEO, for that commitment. Honorable members, I have received a notice that tourism DG really just ticked the honorable members. I would want to check, but I'm going to give the honorable members at least how many minutes? 3 minutes. Those who want to make a follow-up, if ever the DG, especially from tourism, if ever he did not maybe tick all the questions, we'll request that you make a follow-up, and then the DG will then take a pen and paper, note them, so that he end up satisfying the members. Can I see by show of hand? Honorable Matulela, 3 minutes. 3 minutes, Honorable Matulela. I'm Cherima. Over to you. Or is it a legacy hand, Honorable Matulela?
Hello, Chair. Thank you very much. No, Chair, I'm of the view that the tourism DG really they are just doing just the blue tick, because really the response it was not enough, not only to say it must not be shorter, but it's now talking about the money now that is in the account only. Tina, as we are this portfolio committee, silwela indoba, even this equity fund must not be taken away from this department, in particular kule set for entity department to implement. So to give us really 2 minutes to say, I know we have got the money on every account we're going to utilize it. What about the future? What about it's not enough, Chair. I don't think the responses were enough, more especially with so thorough inputs that we have made as this portfolio committee members. I think, Chairperson, there's no justice in it. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. I am sure the Honorable, the DG have noted that. Most of the issues, maybe they took it as comments, but they will come back. Honorable Balungile, 3 minutes. Thank you, Honorable Matulela, for respecting time. Honorable Sapo.
Thank you very much, Chair. I won't even take 3 minutes. Just one thing. I also really felt blue ticked. I think the DG didn't give us or give us confidence that at least this time around things will be done correctly. But part of the things that I raised, of which I will really request him to respond to it, is in terms of legislative requirements, especially for those that just entered the market, because I think based on my observations, it's really the main problem why there is a really slow approvals. And linked to that, Chair, there seem to be a problem, especially at the screening stage. What are the interventions that at least the department are going to bring to ensure that at least that particular stage is not to say it is to compromise all the legislative requirements, but to at least ease it so that those who just entered the market can be able to access the funding like everyone else. If at least he can speak to those two things, I will be really satisfied, Chair. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, DG. 2 minutes. Over to you.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson and the honorable members. I said earlier, Honorable Chairperson, that on the issue of what has been appropriated previously, which has accumulated in the fund, which is money that comes from the department, which then gets to be combined with money that comes from private banks, that comes from CFA as well. The department is committed in as far as the money that is in the account is concerned. The other part, as a DG, I do not have the mandate to speak to it because it is future appropriations and they are also informed by policy direction that would be given by the executive. So it's really, I'm saying this because I don't want to make a commitment for which I do not have authority at all. And I do understand what was raised by Honorable Matelul. I fully understand what was raised, but I do not have any powers whatsoever to be able to make that big a pronouncement on this particular matter. I take note of it and understand exactly where the honorable member is coming from, but I don't have the powers to be able to make that commitment. I, however, do have the authority to confirm that all the money that is in the account as we speak must be committed. The questions that have been raised by Honorable Sabo, part of, and apologies if members felt that I was evading the questions. Honorable Chairperson, when I asked whether it was DG Manzini or myself, it was because in the main, the questions that have been raised, particularly, for instance, matters that pertain to credit issues and SIDFA being a credit provider licensed and requirements around how they should work and so on. Those particular aspects, Honorable Chairperson, are the ones that should be dealt with from the side of SIFA. The commitment that I've made is that from our side, we are going to monitor tightly the MOA that we have got with SIDFA and make sure that continuously those meetings that we're supposed to hold are held and we are getting an update in terms of the money that has been disbursed and so on, the money that has been committed and so on. But they have this other leg where for people to qualify for the loans and so on, that particular aspect needs to be dealt with from their side. We provide grant for people that would have actually been able to satisfy all the credit requirements. And this is part of the things that we took to cabinet when we were actually saying we're going to be working with SIDFA. So they probably would be able to say a bit more from their side as the executors of this as compared to us. Ours is to request that that which we've signed up for gets to be done, and it gets to be done within the requisite time, so to say. But the bulk of the aspects, we took note of them as part of what we are also going to be making use of as we go through this process of monitoring the implementation on the side of SIDFA. Thank you, Honorable Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Ntate Mpumeleni. I think we are running out of time. I really want to appreciate that you took our invitation very serious and you managed to prepare yourself so that you can come and do the presentation. Don't worry about Memanzini. Already honorable members have indicated that we are going to invite the Department of Small Business Development to come and clarify some of the issues in the form of presentation. So I believe what you have raised, where you said you were saying you are afraid you cannot respond to the issues that you are not supposed to respond to. I really understand you. And you know, when people or when the department or when families are being glorified, is when people are speaking the truth. Thank you very much for that, DG. And I would want to say we appreciate even to our Deputy Minister. Thank you very much. We have arrived at the end of the presentation of tourism. We are now moving forward to listen to the report of our oversight visit. The members from tourism, we are not chasing you away. If you want to remain in the committee up until the end, you are free to do so. But if ever you have other commitments, we are releasing you, and really we appreciate. It has been a pleasure for being with you in our committee. Thank you very much.
Thank
King,
you, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. King, take us back to our program, sir. Our agenda, sorry. Take us back to our agenda. And then I can, in the meantime, request the content advisor to be ready. We are now going to listen or consider and adopt the Eastern Province Oversight Visit report that we had from the 2nd to the 6th of February this year, 2026. I will also appreciate content advisor if you can just on many issues summarize, because we have the report, so that the members are be able to ask the question, and then you are also have the time to come back with responses. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Chairperson. Morning to you, morning, honorable members and colleagues. King, if I can be given the sharing rights. Thank you. Okay, Chairperson, thank you very much. The document, it's an oversight, Eastern Cape oversight report that the committee undertook from the 2nd to the 6th of February. It's dated today's date. It's a 59-page document, including the observations and recommendations. I am not, Chairperson, going to go through line by line, but we will try and move as quickly as I can under observations and recommendations, just to take the members of the committee through what are some of the issues that came up in the oversight visit. Chair, the first section of the report, which is page 1, it's just an introduction to introduce the document and the actual oversight. Section 2, it's the background, the geographical background of the region itself, Eastern Cape. including the number of districts that are there. One most important thing, Chairperson, is also to align our oversights with the strategic plan of Parliament, notably the 7th Parliament of 2024-2029, where the institution aims to strengthen oversight in high poverty areas by using the multidimensional poverty index. So the theme of our visit, honorable members, was also to take into account what is the strategic plan of the Parliament says about these particular regions. Eastern Cape, KwaZulu-Natal, and Limpopo Province, it's one of the 3 provinces that are highly affected in terms of poverty and unemployment. Then table 1, it's just the list of the projects that were visited by the committee, including the programs and the amounts that were advanced either by the department or by SEDFA. Then the number of projects, honorable members, this time around, in fact, exceed 30. That is why you have this bulky report. Because, for instance, others, if you look at number 16, even though the visit was to Hlati, multi-purpose, but there was Njebo, which is actually SEDFA's client, which is one of the projects that, in terms of the oversight, we were really visiting in Eastern Cape. Then on number 3, section 3, it's just the objectives and the expected outcomes of the oversight report. Section 4, it's the composition of the delegation, which include members of parliament, staff from the provinces. Then the first visit, as we all know, was to Alfred Nzo District Municipality. This is just the background of the region itself now. We are a district municipality. The number of municipalities that are there, the poverty index, the unemployment, and the economic growth in the region. We visited Matatiele in Alfred Nzo. The second visit was to Mazasa Consulting Management, CC. Towards the end of the report, honorable members, we are making recommendations as to what are some of the issues that came up in each and every visit that we did in Eastern Cape. For instance, in Mazasa, there is an issue of access to business premises and space that we are talking about towards the end of the report. We visited MBI Development Primary Cooperative. This one is based in Ntabankulu. We visited Imvovo. Also, it's on the border of Mount Elif and Ntabankulu. This one is a beneficiary of the Tourism Equity Fund, honorable members. We also visited Masizake Multipurpose Cooperative. It's also in Mount Elif, Ematasibeni. We visited number 5, Salilisiwe Agricultural Primary Cooperative, also in Mount Elif, but the owners of the cooperative are from Ntabankulu. As a result, they are now moving from Mount Elif back to Ntabankulu. The project is being relocated back to Ntabankulu. Then on the second day, we visited the Tambo District Municipality, where we first had a session with Mpondoland Cannabis Belt Association. Then the second visit was to Abasugi Tenary Primary Cooperative, Mampondo International Primary Cooperative. The next one was Township Cannabis Incubator. This one is at King Sabata Dalinjebo. The committee was joined here by the minister as part of the delegation. Then the next one was to Altitudes Building and Civil Contractors. We have engaged thoroughly on this one, honorable members. We have had 2 meetings. One was a virtual meeting with the leadership of King Sabata Dalinjebo, and also they were invited in our meeting in Parliament, where they attended physically to brief the committee. The last project on second day, in fact, it's not the last, if I'm not mistaken, it was Eyoluntu, which was the fresh produce market in Mthatha. Eyoluntu has been appointed as the market agency for the Kai Fresh Produce Market. Then the next project was a visit to Furniture Technology Center. This is an incubator, honorable members, funded by SEDFA. It's a national incubator. There are branches in Eastern Cape, KZN, Gauteng. But in this occasion, we visited the Eastern Cape branch. Then the last visit was to a step-down, or Mthatha step-down hospital,
which was funded to the value of 15 million rands by SETFA. We are also making observation and recommendations towards the end of the report. On the third day, we visited Damatole District Municipality. This is just the background of the district municipality itself, including the number of projects that were visited by the committee. First one being Kamawonga and Trading Pty Ltd. The second one being the Oyisa Amanyamadoda Spaza Shop. This is the Spaza Shop, honorable members, the famous one, where we traveled on a gravel road, bumpy road, for about 60 kilometers. You know the whole story. It's narrated here. I'm not going to repeat what were the discoveries we discovered in that project. Then the next one was a core meeting between Injebo and the beneficiary, which is Hlati Multipurpose Pty Ltd. We visited the homestead of Mr. Tsipa, where we were given a briefing by both Mr. Tsipa and the lady from Injebo Fund. Then on fourth day, we visited Krisani District Municipality, in particular Inokimkijima local municipality, where we went to an agriculture or agri-processing project under the name Aruza Bees Pty Ltd. It's also funded by SETFA. It's owned and managed by Mrs. Zolega Dikana, the very jovial Miss Zolega Dikana. And then the next one was Sinemibono Security Primary Cooperative. This is a security cooperative, honorable members. It's one of the projects that, one can safely say it has collapsed. But, looking at the enthusiasm from members of this cooperative, there are chances that it can still be resuscitated because they still want to work. The offices are still there. So they just need support. Then the next one was Black Nest. These are two young gentlemen who specializes in the financial services sector, particularly the insurance sector. Then the next project was a visit to a gym club called Tyrone Miller's Business Enterprise, but it's trading as Queen's Fitness Center. We also interacted with the owner here, and then he narrated his story. He told us what are some of the requirements that his gym or his business still require in order to grow. Then we also had a briefing from a young gentleman called Lutando at SETFA offices. Mr. Lutando has interest in the bakery and confectionery business. Then that was the end of our day 4 visit, honorable members, before we headed to Buffalo City Metropolitan Municipality. The first visit on that day, which was the last day, was a visit to chemistry incubator, colloquially known as CHEMIN, where we were received by the center manager. On this leg of the visit, honorable members posed a couple of questions. For instance, there were concerns that the board of the incubator was missing. As a result, we were only received by the center manager, who then briefed members of the committee. We then visited two old ladies, Mrs. D. Noruka and Mama Tsekiso. Both old ladies are funded by the Small Enterprise Foundation. We had a very fruitful discussions on this one. You will recall, honorable members, that you said that we directed the Secretariat to also invite the formal, SERF, to come and visit Parliament so that we can be briefed on what are some of the offerings. Yes, there were concerns raised by honorable members, and we are raising these under observations that for one really to be a client of an intermediary for a period of 10 years, it doesn't really make sense, but it could be members do not necessarily understand the concept, which is why we then took a decision to invite ISEF to appear before the committee. The next project was a visit to the two gentlemen, Galawell, which is a company that is trading, doing supply and deliver It's more of a project-based company. They receive funding from Talisfin. Also, representative from Talisfin were there in attendance in the meeting. Then the next one was a visit to OBG Petroleum, which is a filling station, which is currently being constructed by Mr. Gonya. It's along Mtanzane Access Road in East London, where we were given a thorough briefing. But the main issue on this one, honorable members, you will recall, was around the issue of access road, where BCMM directed Mr. Gonya to fund the creation of the access road without really the assistance of the municipality. We are noting here, honorable members, that members were very vocal around this particular one. BCMM was reprimanded to assist Mr. Gonya. As a result, there was an understanding or an agreement that the Buffalo municipality will relook at the issue and then provide the way forward. So one of the things that we were directed to do here, honorable members, is that after some time, we will have to invite the leadership of the Buffalo City municipality to brief the committee in terms of the progress that they have made in assisting Mr. Gonya. The last one was, in fact, not the last one. The second last was a visit to Tanda Isizwe Investments Pty Ltd, it's trading as gas champs, where we interacted with Mr. Dwaku. He also told us some of his challenges and what sort of assistance he requires going forward. Then the last one was not necessarily a visit, but it was a briefing by Ms. Mutale. Ms. Motale owns a company called Love Deco Company with interest in events management. She has done projects abroad, like she told us that she has done projects in Ethiopia and also in Equatorial Guinea. She also indicated some of the challenges that the business was facing and also implored members of the committee to ensure that SEDFA assist in terms of sourcing other equipment and machinery to grow a business. Then under the observations, honorable members, I'll quickly go through each one of them. The first one being just an observation from the committee to say, for the most part, the committee's oversight visit to the Eastern Cape province was largely successful. Based on the evaluation of the projects visited by the committee, there is a lot of good work being done. Of course, there were questionable, low impact or failed projects that require the department and SEDFA to strengthen their processes, including stricter, fairer application vetting to minimize impartiality, more efficient support for applicants, and better oversight. It's one of the issues that keeps coming up, honorable members, that the department and SEDFA would fund that, but they won't do the monitoring of the projects. The second observation, the committee is pleased to have visited a few areas listed by Stats SA as having high concentration of poverty in households living below the lower bound poverty line. Parliament is intensifying efforts to track poverty through oversight, research, and legislative action, with a special emphasis on using the multidimensional poverty index and national poverty lines to assess the efficacy of government policies. One of the strategic objectives of the committee visit to Eastern Cape was to ensure that government budget allocations are directly addressing the needs of the poor and that poverty reduction objectives are realized. The next observation, the vast majority of the projects were in a functional state. Those that were not, plans were underway from the department, SEDFA, and the Provincial Department of Economic Development, including LEDs in some cases, to resuscitate and provide them with support. The committee once again noted that a lack of coordination between government departments, spheres of government, in other words, national, provincial, and local, and entities, in this case SEDFA, leads to paralysis of service delivery, replication of efforts, and waste of resources. In most cases, local municipalities were not aware of the projects funded by the department in their respective jurisdiction or regions. This is a recurring problem, honorable members. This is an observation we made in Northern Cape, same observation in Limpopo, same observation in Free State. We are also making it now in Eastern Cape. Then 10.4, the committee documented that other several critical projects already funded by the department and SETFA were facing imminent risk of collapse or severe disruption due to chronic underfunding. There was an advice, honorable member, given by Chairperson of Mthatha Step Down Hospital, Meva Tiswa Mugwanya, that SETFA should fund the business in its totality rather than committing itself to a ceiling. This suggestion, honorable members, resonated with the committee recommendation following its oversight visit to Free State, open quotes, to guarantee project scalability and sustainability. The department or SETFA should support the complete business plan rather than just certain parts of it. Of course, funding a project in stages allow the department and SETFA to assess progress and results before committing further resources, mitigating the risk of investing in a failing project. However, funding the entire plan helps ensure that operational costs, maintenance, and future development are accounted for, preventing the project from collapsing after the initial funding period ends, close quote. Then 10.5, there are noticeable improvements in the wholesale lending program, specifically in the area of interest, fees, and charges. In other words, maximum 5% per month for the first loan in a year and 3% for subsequent loans. Members of the committee were consistent in terms of asking the beneficiaries of the intermediaries what rate of percentage is being charged, and the answer has always been 5%, which really means there is an improvement in this regard. The intermediaries and alternative lenders are increasingly offering competitive interest rates that might be comparable to or even more flexible than traditional commercial banks. This development is welcomed by the committee. It is the absence of a two-way referral arrangement between SETFA and MFIs that still present a major concern for the committee. For a macro or survivalist enterprise to be a client of an intermediary for more than 10 years, for more than a year, is inappropriate. And for 10 years is a grave injustice that goes against the department's and SETFA's original intent. This is a business segment that needs grants and interest-free loans to grow. There is no doubt that organizations like SEF are doing an excellent job of elevating underprivileged areas. However, having one client take out loans over a 10-year period suggests that they are excessively reliant on the intermediary. Then the next observation, the committee took note of many issues brought up regarding the SETFA turnaround time in processing applications. In certain situations, claims of simply not responding to applications were raised, with reports of little to no feedback on application status. Additionally, there were reports of technological issues, which in one case resulted in a cooperative member driving all the way to Pretoria. Then the next one, the phenomena of not knowing a site or project location poses a significant logistical challenges for the committee and the protection teams. Without a confirmed site, planning for transport becomes speculative, forcing committee to add significant contingency reserves. The department and SETFA are undermining the committee's long-standing advice or recommendation in this regard by not mandating all applications to include GPS coordinates. The next one, the recurring theme throughout the oversight was lack of access to business premises and infrastructure. Many SMEs or cooperatives are struggling to access suitable business premises. Mr. Zolile Masweu, for instance, of Mazasa Management Consulting in Matatiele, was forced to vacate suitably zoned premises to his house. The effect of that decision is that the business was being carried out in an area not designated for educational purposes. In fact, it is still being carried out in an area not designated for educational purposes. Then the last observation we are making, honorable members, during a visit to the Kemin incubator in East London, the committee encountered a similar, although somewhat strange situation where ECDC provides funding, support, and infrastructure while simultaneously collecting rent. The committee noted that the utilization of government-owned buildings remain unpopular with many incubators. Many incubators are renting the space, honorable members, most that we have visited. As a result, incubators like Fentech face substantial overhead costs, which can hinder their efficiency. The committee strongly believes that government properties should be made available at arm's length to incubators as well as MSMEs. Then, based on the observations we are making above, we therefore propose the following recommendations. Similar to other provinces that this committee has visited, the committee examined numerous projects that necessitated additional needs analysis by both the department and SEDFA. It's almost a similar recommendation, honorable members, we made following our Free State Oversight visit. The department and SEDFA must perform a follow-up visit, assess company needs, identify gaps, and develop a plan to address them. A project management plan should be developed and reported to Parliament by the end of the first quarter of the 2026-2027 financial year. We are making a slot, honorable members, for the department and SEDFA to come and present their implementation plan, not just the Eastern Cape. There is one for Limpopo province, there is another one for Free State province. Number two, to ensure project scalability and sustainability, the department and SEDFA should support the entire business strategy. This is a policy issue, honorable members, which maybe members may want to discuss further with the department and SEDFA. SEDFA should support the entire business plan or business strategy, not just specific aspects of the business plan. Funding a project in stages allows the department to evaluate progress and results before spending further money, reducing the chance of a failed project. SEDFA should evaluate the use of ceilings, caps, and structured limits in its funding methodology. In other words, this is a recommendation that was made by Mayor in Tata Step Down Hospital, that there is a cap of 15 million rands, no matter how viable the project is, no matter how number of employment opportunities will be created by the project, but there is that ceiling of 15 million rands. And there is a view now that keeps coming up that maybe that particular ceiling should be reviewed. SEDFA should evaluate the use of, the committee will examine SEDFA's annual performance plan and quarterly reports to ascertain the extent to which this recommendation is being implemented. Then 11.3, once again, it is still the recommendation of this committee that spaza shops that survived the COVID-19 pandemic and are still in existence should be prioritized for assistance with municipal compliance, those that are not in compliance with the municipality, and application for spaza shop support fund. The one we visited, honorable members, in Butterworth is in compliance with the municipality of Butterworth or Mnuma, local municipality. The committee would periodically monitor the fund's disbursement as part of its oversight role to ensure it achieves its objectives of supporting South African-owned businesses in townships and rural areas. Rural and smaller municipalities must be strengthened in a number of crucial areas with a view to expedite the application and compliance processes. In Free State, honorable members, we even made a suggestion that perhaps the department must take the responsibility of placing graduates in some of the municipalities so that the compliance processes can then be speeded up going forward, because other municipalities really are not doing justice to this process. As a result, there is a slow takeoff of the spaza shop support fund. Then 11.4, the incorporation of departments' projects into municipalities' LEDs plans necessitate a systematic, collaborative, and integrated approach that builds on existing government frameworks and foster public-private collaborations. Local municipalities must be informed about all projects supported by the department and SEDFA. Moreover, they must be integrated into municipal planning cycles, IDP, and as well as IDPs. This will ensure that national priorities are aligned with local needs, avoiding fragmented and uncoordinated efforts at a local municipality. The existing district development model can serve as a key platform for coordinating across all levels of government. Then 11.5, mandating GPS coordinates for all applications could enhance municipal oversight and project tracking. The department and SEDFA must make sure that this recommendation is acted upon without delay. It's not a first recommendation we are making, honorable members. In fact, in Eastern Cape, we were actually relying on the GPS coordinates to find the location of the project in some areas. So we are saying in this particular case, the GPS coordinates must just be part of the application process. It's easy to get a GPS coordinates from your phone. So it should be implemented without delay. 11.6, a formal and systematic two-way referral process should be established as a standard practice between SEDFA and MFIs. In essence, adopting this as a norm means moving away from an ad hoc collaboration to a structured, expected system of operation that benefits MSMEs and fosters inclusive economic growth. This is one of the questions that members kept asking in our visit in Eastern Cape, that is there a two-way referral between MFIs and the SEDFA? The last projects, for instance, Love Decor, she indicated that no, she was not aware of what are some of the offerings or products that are offered by SEDFA. Then 11.7, SEDFA should give priority to using cooperative banking institutions that are licensed, regulated, and registered with FSCA, PA, Financial Intelligence, all of which are agencies of the South African Reserve Bank among its network of intermediaries. It's also not a first recommendation, honorable members, that we are making. The combined oversight of these organizations suggests much improved governance and risk-based approach to public funding management. Then the last recommendation, members, it's 11.8. The committee continues to have serious concerns about the lack of post-investment monitoring and support, as well as early detection of struggling projects, since these factors frequently result in business failure. The committee is once again calling on the department and SEDFA to build up their post-investment units so as to provide better and coordinated support, monitoring, and impact assessment. Honorable members, this is the last recommendation we are making in this report. It's quite a lengthy report, but I'm sure members did find time yesterday to go through some of the aspects of the report. I'll pause there for now, Chairperson, and hand back to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, content advisor. Even those who did not manage to go through the report, I think your presentation covered everything, and we were listening and we have heard. Honorable members, there is the report. I'm going to request that we consider this report. Over to the honorable members. I see the hand of Honorable Mafagani, Honorable Sapo, Honorable Babala in that order.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning once again. I want to welcome the report. From my side, the report has covered the trip that I went to. Thank you very much to the content advisor and to everyone involved. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Carol. Honorable Sapo, over to you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Chair. Am I audible enough?
Yes, you are.
Thank you so much, Chair. Chair, I am comfortable with the report presented, and also comfortable with the recommendations made. But my hand, Chair, yes, I move that we adopt the report, but I have one recommendation, or or let me say the proposal made to the committee. Chair, I propose that in our next quarter, we find a slot to call the department and the entity to come and respond physically on the recommendations that were made on the oversight visit that was in Northern Cape. And if it's possible, Chair, then the content advisor and the secretariat can advise that they sample some of the beneficiaries that were visited in Northern Cape, so that when we receive that progress report from the department and an entity, we compare it to the interventions that we made with Northern Cape. Chair, I am making this proposal simply because I have observed, at least ever since I arrived in the National Assembly, that we will go for an oversight visit. We will write a report, make recommendations, go to the House, the House adopt them as a House resolutions. They are sent to the department. Nothing that is being done, unless they skipped me somewhere, somehow. I think the only way then now to hold them really accountable, they must come physically. We start them from the Northern Cape. Because what we cannot afford is to go for an oversight visit. We bring interventions, then we leave, assuming that after we have left, they then went back and do those interventions, only to find out that maybe they are not doing that. So, Chair, I want to make that recommendation to be considered, that even if it's the first or the second, in our next quarter, that particular meeting will be considered. Other than that, I am fine with the report and the recommendations made. Chair. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Sapo. I am sure the Secretariat are listening. Maybe that will be a first invitation from the Portfolio Committee to the Department of Small Business Development to come and account on the issues that were raised when we were doing our oversight visit, and also to tell us as to what is it that they've done. Indeed, this must not be or shouldn't end up as if we are just sightseeing the provinces and greeting the people, raising their hopes, and at the end of the day, we don't do anything. Even now, Honorable Sapo, I can tell you we are still receiving calls from those people that the department said in 2 weeks we'll make sure that we'll resolve this issue in 2 weeks, But even today, many 2 weeks passed, and those people are still calling. So if we can request the Secretariat indeed, or I support your idea, that they should invite the department mainly to come and deal with the issues of the oversight visit. And if it comes to a push, I don't know, such that money is money. We're going to request that we invite those people that we identify in each provinces randomly, so to come and be part of the meeting. But I don't know if ever that will be doable because of the money, or maybe we send them the link, or they be able to attend. I don't know, because of the mode of gadgets that they are using. So it's just a problem, but the department indeed must come. Honorable Babalo, over to you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Chair. Indeed, the report is properly captured. Thank you very much to our content advisor. The fact that even this time around we are having full details of what the oversight report, I want to state that, Chairperson, also to add on the department to come or before the portfolio committee to account on other oversights we made, but also, Chairperson, there is a very painful concern about because out of this oversight, we have learned and we have seen many issues and also the shortcomings with regards to the department. Kubantu bethu. So, Chairperson, as I stand here, I want to share with you this because if the department can only come for only the places that we did oversight to, I think they will just touch on few things and leaving behind stress abasifaka abantu baseGoli, Chairperson, because usisi Sibongile waseGauteng une-spaza shop, i-500 million spaza shop fund is out there, is there for people to access it, but the bureaucracy and lama difficulties abawatholayo, they are unable to access this funding. Nibonile nakuyo le visit eMatatiele ukuthi we were only told that abantu aba-aplayile, it's only 11 spaza shops, of which there is no guarantee ukuthi abo bantu they are going to get this funding, because there is also a process where each department ifuneke uba mayo-consulta to the same municipality or thatha abantu bethu from pillar to post, ukuthi is this really the spaza shop that is being licensed by them, of which I don't think that is fair, Chairperson, because uthi Sibongile yesterday izolo oku ubeye kumasipala wakhe phaya eGoli apha kule ndawo ahlala kuyo, but umasipala wathi makahamba ye eJoburg ukuyokwenza le license. Makefika eJoburg, iJoburg yathi no, makaphinde back kumasipala, bengafanelanga buye eJoburg. And when mayefika futhi umasipala futhi akasamfumani lo muntu ebemthumele eJoburg. Njeba sithetha namhlanje lo muntu uwaste imali yakhe, uvale ispaza shop sakhe, akakhange athengise nto eyo inquirisha indaba yokuthi a license ispaza shop sakhe. So I think also into also kwathiwani ke ngokwamasipala kwathiwa makenziwe zoning leyo usisi Sibongile akazi noba yintoni leyo, and there was no explanation. So ucela uba masimncedise as members of parliament. So I think also because in Gauteng is not only the licensing, it's even worse. There is a zoning, there is a licensing, there's a lot, and people are sent.
Can I give advice? Can I give a word of advice, my dear honorable member, that we stick to the report and all these issues? They are very sensitive and people
Thank you, Chair. But Chair,
So,
sorry.
let
I'm
me
sorry, Chair.
finish.
I'm sorry, Chair.
Let me
We
finish.
stick to the report, but in the report there is
Listen to me.
the
Let me finish.
oversight. But
Honorable-
Chairperson, you are distracting me, most.
No. I'm requesting you. That is why I want.
I'm sticking to the report, Chair. You don't understand because we are not attending to daily issues of our people on the ground. The report
Honorable Matulela, I don't want to call you out of order. I don't want to call you out of order.
But you must allow me to finish.
Listen to my advice. I will allow you. Listen to my request. It's a request actually, an advice too. That because now we are dealing with this report and we want the department to come in and deal with these issues, then when they come, we'll then talk to these issues. For now, we stick to the report of Eastern Cape, the report that was presented, and we're still going to go to Gauteng for an oversight visit. We've never been to Gauteng, but that can be dealt with in that. That is my request, honorable member. I'm not trying to fight with you. I'm just trying to give the direction.
Thank you, Chair. So I don't think also, Chair, you understand me, because let me go through the oversight. The oversight report, Chairperson, confirm into okudala ke siyitsho government support for small businesses with rural provinces like Eastern Cape, Chairperson, remains remains fragmented, slowly and biased towards the paperwork instead of a real economic transformation. Nibonile nani besipha sonke, on paper there are 11 people that are waiting for funding abazizibhaza shop in Matatiele on paper, but abo bantu abakatholi uncedo. Firstly, Chairperson, the report instead, I don't know why you are opening that, because I am going through the report on my side. And then, firstly, Chairperson, the report itself acknowledges that places like Matatiele and Tabankulu over 85% of poverty, yet they receive the lowest number of supported projects. This is a clear failure of developmental prioritization and resources and are reaching the poorest of the poor not enough, because we only visited one in Matatela. You were there, honorable members. This is not just inefficiency. It is a structural neglect, Chairperson. Secondly, entrepreneurs are still trapped in the red tape. The report highlights spaza shops as unable to access the funding because of licensing delays and the permits verification. That's where my point comes, Chair. And I don't think it's a justice to only wait for a day for oversight to attend to this bureaucracy and these matters across South Africa, Chairperson. I think we need the department to intervene. Problems and the municipal bottlenecks. This proves that the state is blocking a very people it claims to empower. We reject a system where survivalist businesses must first navigate bureaucracy before they can access relief. Thirdly, we see a disturbing pattern where projects are approved but far delayed or insufficient. From tourism projects waiting for investment to cooperatives, lacking infrastructure, government support remains incompetent. This halfway funding approach condemns business to stagnation instead of growth, Chairperson. But exposes a serious crisis of municipal incompetence, including unpaid contractors, poor coordination and lack of attendance by the municipal leadership during oversight. See, attend with this staff, they are acting for MMs. They are acting for the accounting officers. This undermines the economic development and sabotage youth-owned enterprises. Chairperson, direct funding for rural cooperatives without bureaucracy gatekeeping is a principle, Chairperson, and is a way to go. Prioritization of poorest districts in allocation models will assist our people, Chairperson. Immediate intervention against municipalities that delay payments must be done to implement accountability, Chairperson. We need full infrastructure support for funded enterprises, not partially assistance. There must be a clear plan to integrate informal traders into a formal economy without punitive requirements, Chairperson. The Eastern Cape cannot remain a laboratory of poverty. Time for radical economic intervention is now, Chairperson. We stand for the state-led industrialization, direct funding, and economic justice for rural communities. Chairperson, once again, as I conclude, I am requesting that this portfolio committee, as the oversight, doesn't only relies on dates, it also happens on Mondays and Fridays. Let us set a date. Those who are around, can we do our own oversight and intervene in that crisis of Gauteng? It can't be correct. Our people are stuck. They are operating in businesses. So therefore, the lessons learned in Eastern Cape must also open our eyes to go and further assist our people before we even set some oversights that are supposed to be approved by the Chairperson of Parliament. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. So are you moving the report, that we adopt the report? Are you supporting?
Yes, yes, Chair. I do support, but I request my request as well.
Yes, I've heard your request. It will be looked into on our next meeting. Thank you very much. I think I managed to do justice in giving all the honorable members who wanted to talk to the report. They did talk to the report, and then now we are done. Honorable Sapo, thank you very much for moving that we adopt the report. And thank you, Honorable Babaloma Tulelo, for supporting the move. we are very thankful. Can I then check? Because now time is no more on my side. I have to move to the next meeting. I want us to move to the next item, King. Ndete King? Thank you very much. The last item deals with closing remarks. I really want to appreciate that we are really doing our work. Let us continue to support each other, and let us continue to fight for those that we are representing that are down there on our constituencies. And I believe what the honorable members requested in their participation, that we need to invite the department, we need to do 1, 2, 3. I'm sure Secretary has noted that, and we are not going to repeat ourselves. When we open up, all the requests of the members will be given a first priority, so that we continue with the work. I really want to appreciate, and I am just a nobody who cannot commit the mistakes. I really appreciate that I have been corrected with a good spirit, and members did really forgive me. And I would request that even in future we continue to do that. Next time, King, whenever we start with the meeting, I request that you put in the agenda before I can even recognize those that are in the meeting, so that this mistake that happened today is not going to repeat itself. On that note, have a blessed afternoon, honorable members. The meeting is
Recording stopped.